Chad, as you can see by the title of this video, I'm not live. I didn't make this live. I was supposed to record my video yesterday, but I just wasn't ready, so I have to do it today. The filming crew is very tired and they're also very apologetic. Just kidding, it's just me. I'm apologetic. I'm sorry I didn't make it. You see, there's a stupid background here, so I'm doing new but very complex stuff with the studio that I have. Anyways, luckily I recorded a video with Logical Consistency, Brandon, on his channel about 3 or 4 months ago. So I'm showing this to you now, and I made it a premiere, so maybe you can have conversations in the chat the way you usually do during live streams, if you want to. Even if you don't want to, socialize, damn it. So you're just raw dogging live streams, Brandon. You don't even have like a 30-second countdown or anything like that.
No, I'm just going for it.
All right. I feel better about myself right now.
Yeah,
I have a countdown, man.
I really don't like live streams because they are like, I like doing live streams where I don't have to share, or like just solo live streams are fine. But when you have to share things, it's too technical. Like, it's fine, but it's just always kind of a nightmare. And I don't have multiple monitors. Like, if I had like a 3-monitor setup or something, then it probably would be fine. But with the monitor I have, it really is like just a computer. It really is not conducive.
Yeah. I used to have 3 monitors. I disconnected one of them. And I now have only 2. And I am struggling a little bit today with only 2 monitors. But that's all right. That's okay.
Yeah, I have 1, and it's a nightmare. Hold on, give me just 1 second. I'm just doing one thing. God, you gotta love it. All right, hope everyone's tuning in. We're gonna be reacting to this guy who has some criticism, apparently, for vegan activists. So that should be interesting. I've never actually seen this guy. I think he does more like, from what I've seen on his channel, more like, I don't know, economy stuff, or more like societal things. I don't know.
Yeah, it's gonna sound like it from the video.
Did you watch any of the other videos? Any of his other videos?
No, I only watched this one in like 2x to to see where the bombs are, as so to speak. It was sent to me by Ethically Based X Omnivore, so that's pretty cool. So I hope he can check it out.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I did tag him in the title, so hopefully you'll see it.
Whom? Ethically Based X Omnivore?
No, sorry. Yeah, I'm talking about the guy. Yeah, I tagged the guy in the thing, so hopefully he'll see it as well.
Yeah, maybe we can learn some stuff from each other. I'm kind of being cynical because the entire video is I haven't learned a goddamn thing, right? I love it how people just keep reiterating the same shit, but sounding like they're being incredibly profound and innovative. When as vegans, we've heard all this shit like 10,000 times already. So
yeah.
Like, and you could make, I guess, the point that in some cases, if you heard it 10,000 times, maybe it's true. So, maybe today we're gonna get our veganism completely debunked, Could be that because we heard it 10,000 times, it's actually like the truth.
Yeah, from my experience, it's not, but we'll see. I didn't watch it. I watched like a minute of it just to get like an idea. Yeah. So I'm excited to see what he has to say. I'm just gonna take a quick bite here and then we'll get started. Hold on. All right.
I'm not even muting myself. You guys are gonna have to listen to me too. Thankfully. I'm a pretty quiet chewer. Don't worry about it. So it is a fucking mukbang. That's what we're doing. Hey, guy, we're not. We're just here to eat with your face on the screen. That's all we're doing. Eating our shitty vegan food. Jesus, Brandon.
Yeah, I'm a quick eater. No, we should do like a vegan mukbang one day or something. Just like eating our lunch together or something. That'd be really funny.
I wonder what Patrick is gonna bring.
It could be anything based on his philosophy, so I don't know. All right, we're getting started. All right,
Right.
everybody. Let's start this video. I will be looking at the chat, and this is going to be the only time I'll say this, just because I feel like I have to. It's YouTube culture. There is a link in the stream if you want to support the channel. You could tip, but no pressure. So, but it is there. So, thank you. All right, let's get started.
All right.
Man, I hope this finds the right audience. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to nuke the comment section.
Always great way to start.
There are lots of well-intentioned vegans who are passionate and empathetic and proselytize an objectively good cause. And we make fun of them for it. And I think we all know why we make fun of them, because some vegans go out of their way to let you know just how vegan they are. These vegans...
I'm already have to stop. I mean,
we make fun of them for it. And I think we all know why we make fun of them, because some vegans go out of their way to...
So I found the vegan is the place where he zooms in at the end. I mean, it seems like the omnivores are the ones that are obsessed with vegans, kind of, right? So, yeah.
Yeah, I would say that I don't really like the term. They'll tell you how vegan they are. You're either vegan or hold on, did we get tip Johnny Vegan Seed donated $5, said congrats on the marriage. Thank you Johnny Vegan Seed, I appreciate that. Yeah, it's going well. It's been about a month, so a month down, many more months to go, but it's going well, so thank you. You guys, I will be posting a video of the wedding. Kind of, it'll be like a mismatch of stuff, so you guys can check that out.
A wedding vlog.
Kind of. It's kind of.
You're a real YouTuber now.
Yeah, I am. Yeah, exactly. It's gonna be my first real YouTube video, guys. So check it out. But yeah, what I was saying is, this whole idea of like how vegan they are. You're either vegan or you're not. That's number one. Like, I guess so. There can be some minor disagreements between vegans on certain things, but for the most part, you either think animals should be used as products or you don't. And then we live in a society where the vast, like 98% or 95%, something crazy, they do whatever they want to animals, essentially, right? Like, some people do have like arbitrary lines between animals or between practices, but for the most part as a society, I mean, we abuse and don't recognize animals as individuals at all. So yeah, forgive me if I want to make sure everyone knows that, hey, there's an alternative, and hey, I don't support all of that shit. You know what I mean? It makes sense. If our society was 98% like racist or homophobic or sexist, I would also take the same stance. So I don't, yeah.
Especially in this case, right? So that's what I wanted to say. So how do you find a vegan at a dinner party, right? So it's omnivores joking about vegans. That shit is cut out, right? That shit we are not privy to. And then the vegan returns the favor and makes the fucking joke, right? Oh, but it's the vegans who are the problematic ones, right?
Right. And also, I would say that most people, I know veganism isn't a diet, but when vegans are brought up, it's usually having to do with food. When it comes to like food, almost everyone is like obsessed with food. Like there really isn't. It's not just like vegans who will keep talking about plant-based food. There are so many food pages, food channels, recipe blogs, whatever, right? People are constantly talking about food. So it's kind of hard to be vegan and not talk about plant-based food or you're eating, especially if you're out or if you're social at all. Most social activities have something to do with food.
Yeah.
So there's really no way to avoid being like, hey, no, I'm vegan, or hey, no, I don't eat animal products. There's really like, it's not really possible.
Yeah.
Unless you just like are mute and just sit there and just like shake your head or something,
Yeah.
Well,
that's what they want. They want
Right.
quiet vegans who, don't say a fucking thing, even in defense of themselves.
Right. But to sum it up, veganism, I would say, it's a justice movement, right? We're advocating for the rights of animals. So the whole point is to talk about it, right?
Yes.
If you don't talk about it, then you're not. If you don't talk about it, then you're not doing it right, I guess. Because we're advocating for animal rights.
Yeah. It's kind of weird. Like almost every like just silly stuff YouTube channel on YouTube, right?
Mm-hmm.
They are concentrating on a problem of some kind, right? So I watch a lot of cult content, right? So ex-cult members talking about the cults they left. Specifically, I really like listening to the content that comes from Mormonism and Scientology.
Mm-hmm.
Literally, like they get a lot of abuse. They get a lot of abuse from their cults as well, right? But literally nobody is like telling them, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, I've never heard anyone be like, oh, atheists have to always tell people how atheists they are. I've never heard that before, right? Even though there's tons of pages and people dedicated to exposing the harm in organized religion, the lies, stuff like that. There's a lot of people doing that. And I've never heard this like thing of, oh, here comes the atheist telling everyone how atheists they are, So yeah, I feel like there is this like bias or this standard for vegans that is just weird.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's rooted in guilt or rooted in like annoyance that every time you want to eat, the flesh of an animal, you have this like idea that vegan is a thing and you get like bothered by that. I don't know. But all right. Let's continue.
To let you know just how vegan they are. These vegans, and some of their arguments, give veganism a bad name, and it doesn't help that they also act like they're a protected class. To be
I want to hear the argument. I mean, there are some vegans who are like, I have heard some vegans who do say kind of cringe things or kind of like incorrect things sometimes. But yeah, I would like to, if I had to guess, it's going to be like people who like yell. It's like, if you yell, then you are giving veganism a bad name.
Yeah, I needed a second to formulate what I wanted to say. One thing I've already said, the fact that meters want vegans to shut the fuck up about animal exploitation and killing, that almost everybody in the entire world are paying for, if not doing with their own hands. And that's just a weird expectation, right? Especially because in a second he's going to say, well, vegans are right, right? In the end, it's not going to be really about the animals that he thinks we are right about, but, oh shit, spoiler, never mind. But the second thing is that we are acting like we're a protected class. No, we literally only speak about the fucking animals and get constant abuse for it. Constant. Like,
I don't even know what that means. What is a protected class?
Yeah,
mean?
like somebody from an LGBTQ community. Black people used to be protected class. Like a minority that used to be abused or is still abused, right? So
Right.
Therefore is protected in the law. That's a protected class, as I understand.
Like protected against hate crimes, essentially, like stuff like that.
Yeah. First of all, in England, literally true. In England, it's literally protected class.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, I don't think I wouldn't categorize vegans as that. I mean, I do think that, like, yeah, we do get a lot of shit for no reason, and we do get insults and stuff like that for literally just sharing different ideas and exposing, the animal agriculture industry and the practices involved. But yeah, I mean, I don't think we should be a protected class. I don't know what I don't know if he's saying that some vegans act like that we're a protected class, but I haven't seen that, so I don't know.
A bad name, and it doesn't help that they also act like they're a protected class.
So it does says that we act like we're a protected class. Well, again, first of all, in England, literally protected class. Second of all, in some instances, we should be a protected class. We should have protections when it comes, at least to dietary expectations, right? If there are vegan children in schools where a cafeteria serves food, there should be food for them. I was hospitalized before, and there was like no vegan options. All I got is like a piece of bread and some kind of a tomato sauce, and it was really disgusting. So I was just literally like, if I didn't have friends there, or if I didn't prepare food to bring with myself, I would literally fucking, just be fasting, like forcibly fasting. So in those cases, somebody shouldn't be, I guess, fired if they're vegan. So it should be some things should be protected in the law when it comes to veganism. Like,
yeah, I think
especially food, I think.
Yeah, I think like in a lot of cases I've seen, it's not that like some people act like vegans are a protected class. I think there's a difference between like wanting certain protections because you're in a group or because of the history you've had versus just asking for like standard human decency, right? So like, hey, I want to go out on the street and hold a sign without being physically assaulted, without being verbally assaulted. I want to be able to post things on the internet without people, commenting violent things, without people threatening me in direct messages. You know what I mean? Like, that is not being part of a protected class. That's just like, hey, that's just like human. That should be the standard for all humans. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I totally understand what you mean, but I still don't know what he means by that.
Yeah,
that we're acting like a protected class. Because even when, when you're vegan first, you like when you first become vegan, you kind of don't have things formulated and everything is pretty raw. Going vegan sometimes is a fucking traumatic experience because you immediately met with scoff and laughter and abuse immediately. But you want everybody else to understand what you just went through and realized, right? But everybody is kind of turning their back on you. So in the beginning, some of us are incredibly volatile about it, right? Like we kind of lash out a little bit because we don't have the words. That's what happens when you don't have words for something, when you don't have like formulated arguments for something. And when I say formulated, I just mean colloquially. Then you use whatever you have, and sometimes it's like insults and just chucking insults or screaming about stuff. That happens. I'm not gonna say that it doesn't. It shouldn't be fucking held against us, because again, this is just another social justice movement. So the people that can formulate and are eloquent about what and why, those are the people that coming up to the front, right? They're the guys that open YouTube channels, orchestrate demonstrations and things like that, go on TV and things like that, right? And there are like people just just get upset on Twitter, right? Which is, first of all, that's what Twitter is for. But then those are the people that most like that. I think the idea of what veganism is formulated on, and everything else is kind of disregarded. Like all the actual formulated arguments are completely fucking ignored. And if you do this for a while, right? If you do activism for a while, if you have a YouTube channel, if you have some kind of other like a big Instagram channel or whatever like that, it becomes incredibly apparent that there are no good arguments against veganism. There are none, and we heard them all. I promise you, Guy. We heard them all. So sorry about being a bit long-winded about it.
No. Yeah, no, 100%. I agree.
No, sometimes I just talk so slowly, and it takes me a while to formulate something because I want to be really careful about my words. I want to say the right words. And then sometimes I think, well, that's why my channel is unpopular, because I talk so slowly.
No, you're fine, Postmortem.
All right.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, for sure.
That's why my channel is unpopular? Well, thanks, Brandon.
No, the first thing, no.
I'm joking.
I think your channel, everyone who, this is Vegan Postmortem, obviously. If you haven't subscribed to Vegan Postmortem's channel, please subscribe. They deserve more subscribers for sure.
All right.
To be fair, these vegans are a very, very, very small portion of the vegan community. And I feel like I have to give a disclaimer before I get any further. I have not read all the ancient vegan texts and am in no...
Nobody fucking asked you. It's so fucking easy. You just go, what are the arguments for veganism on fucking Google? And that's what you get. And that's not what you addressed, my dear friend, guy, person. I don't know what the name of the channel is. I'm sorry. What is that? Harlan's Pinks. Hello, Harlan's Pinks. Nice name. I hope to remember it. Sorry, do you have something to say, Brandon?
No. I mean, he's saying that what he just said only goes for a small minority of vegans. So again, he's just talking about individuals in the movement and not what the movement stands for. So it doesn't matter to me. I just want to hear his actual, what he actually has to say.
Yeah.
Because he hasn't really said anything yet.
Yeah, not yet. But listen, this is part of the thing. We go on tangents, Brandon. That's what we do.
No. Go for it. Go for it.
No way an authority. I find it an interesting topic, and I did my best to research and educate myself in order to better understand why someone chooses a vegan lifestyle. For any vegans watching this, maybe don't. I don't know.
Too late, Harlan.
Maybe don't choose a vegan lifestyle? Or...
No, maybe don't watch this video.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we're watching it, so...
But I harbor no ill will toward anyone.
I mean, who the fact that, I don't know, maybe it's just a joke, but I have to, I'm a humorless vegan. You're making a video trying to basically kind of debunk veganism, right? And then you say, well, vegans don't watch. This is basically not for you. So,
yeah. I don't know. I don't know what he's. I'm just very confused. I'm just really curious where this, because I don't know. He's just kind of rambling right now. He's just kind of gibberating. So I don't know where this is heading.
Brendan, that's why we're not popular. You have to do this on YouTube. You have to ramble a little bit. Yeah.
No, I know. It's not helping his message here. I don't know.
He didn't come to it.
It's a 30-minute long video, so there better be some actual claims, some actual examples. Like there better be something, because if it's just this, then
no, there are. Don't hold him against. Don't hold it against him that I keep pausing.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
Based on their diet, especially when that diet is based on
veganism is not a diet. It's not based on a diet. It's against animal exploitation and killing. Nice swerve. Nice deflection, my guy.
Well, it seems like he hasn't, for how much research or how much effort maybe he put in this video, it seems like he still didn't really do too much inspection on what veganism is. Now, granted, there's a lot of misinformation out there or conflicting information, but not really. Like, if you really like take a little bit of time and look into veganism, you'll find that it's not just plant-based eating. They're against all animal exploitation. So that should be a given.
Yeah.
Personal morals. Unless it's cannibalism, or people whose favorite candy is black licorice.
Wait, hold on.
Unless it's cannibal.
Sorry.
I don't know. But I harbor no ill will toward anyone based on their diet, especially when that diet is based on personal morals.
Okay.
Unless it's cannibalism, or people whose favorite candy is...
So what is our first claim? What is the morally relevant difference between a cow and a human, such that you have a problem with killing and eating a person, or a human person, but you have like zero qualms about killing and eating a fucking cow? And it can't be, well, they're human because that's not a trait. What we are looking for is like morally relevant difference between the two. What you think about this animal called human and this animal called cow is irrelevant to the morality of the thing. I think.
Yeah. Most people, they draw this line. They say, "Oh, I don't have a problem unless, but I'm not against cannibalism," right? They just have this line where they're against cannibalism. If you ask them why, they say because eating humans is wrong. Like they just have this like idea that eating humans is wrong. They're not actually looking at why or thinking about why it's wrong, right? They have this idea that eating humans is wrong, which I agree. I think killing and eating humans is wrong. But when you look at why it's wrong, that logic extends to all sentient animals, not just humans. So that's the thing they're missing. No one's ever actually... People are really good at following rules, but they're really bad at understanding why the rules should be followed or where the rules come from. So he
has an issue with cannibalism, but he has no how do I say this? So he imposes his issue with cannibalism on cannibals while complaining that vegans are imposing our values, our morals on the rest of the population who eats cows, pigs, chickens, fish, stuff like that.
Well, we don't know if I don't think he's an anti-cannibal activist, but one thing I will say is I do hate when anti-cannibals just talk about and tell us how anti-cannibal they are. It blows every conversation at a restaurant. Oh, no, thanks. I'm an anti-cannibal. At a dinner party. Oh, no, thanks. I'm not going to have the baby feet. I'm an anti-cannibal. Like everywhere they go, they just have to tell us. I don't get it. But
kind of weird that you have these morals and your diet is based on them.
Black licorice, what the fuck? As far as I can tell, there are several schools of thought when it comes to why someone chooses to be vegan. Even when some vegans say certain kinds of vegans aren't real, despite the fact that people identify as that type of vegan, thus validating their existence. Despite some vegans saying it's about a single issue, really others make the...
Sure.
Yeah, so that was... It's not that people can't be vegan. Like, okay, you can adopt the practices that would align with a vegan lifestyle or align with the vegan philosophy for the environment or for, your health, whatever, right? So technically, you're living plant-based, you're not using animals for, like if you are avoiding all animal use, you are vegan, right? But veganism, right, is specifically for animals, right? It's a movement to try and be a voice for animals who are having their rights violated. Right? It goes hand in hand with the animal rights movement, right? It's all intertwined. So it's not that like if somebody's vegan for the environment, it's not that nobody's saying that they're not avoiding animal products or they're not like living vegan, but you can't really follow veganism or be a vegan without like having the animals in mind, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I have an
So, like-
analogy. Some people don't kick dogs because they think it's not okay to kick dogs. Other people might not kick dogs because they have weak toes or something, right? They're afraid to break their toes on the ribs of dogs.
Sure,
Those people
both
are not
don't kick
equivalent.
dogs.
Yeah.
Yeah, both people don't kick dogs, but only one of them is thinking about the victim.
Yeah.
Exactly. So veganism is thinking about the victim. It's just some people can be like vegan or can live a vegan life without really focusing on the victims.
Yeah.
Which again, they're not really vegan. Like it gets tricky. But I understand what he's saying. It's not that when somebody says, "Can you go vegan for the environment?" No, like you can live vegan or like live without exploiting animals for the environment, but veganism, I mean, it's pretty clear it's about the animals. So, but yeah, I mean, as long as you're honestly, for me, I mean, obviously, I would want somebody to really be an animal rights activist and do it for the animals, but I don't really care. Honestly, I don't really, at the end of the day, I don't really care what gets you there. Just get there and stay there. Now if you're gonna go back on it in a couple years, that's a whole nother story. But if somebody is vegan their entire life and the only reason why is because they wanted to avoid heart disease, I could care less. But usually most of the time,
but they're gonna wear leather and shit like that.
No, I'm talking about vegan. I'm talking about live vegan. So
avoid.
Yeah.
There are some people. It's kind of weird. There are some people that go vegan for health and for some reason just abstain from everything animal derived. No reason behind it. No reasoning behind it that I can see. But I'm cool with it. I'm alright. I do think it's been the label vegan has been kind of opted. But I'm okay with trusting people who say they're vegan. I'm okay with trusting them as long as they actually abstain from all animal exploitation and killing.
Right.
As much as possible, We all participate in some animal killing, but we have no choice.
Yeah.
Their existence. Despite some vegans saying it's about a single issue, others make the case that ethical consumption is never just about one thing, like well-known animal rights advocate and vegan Peter Singer. For simplicity's sake, you can break it down into moral and ethical veganism. Now, they're not mutually exclusive, and they both overlap depending on...
what is this distinction between... I haven't read Peter Singer, nor do I feel inclined to, but what is this? Separation between moral and ethical? Sorry, what's the difference?
I don't know, but I watched I listened to a podcast or a thing with Peter Singer, and I think what's that guy? Sam something? What's
Sam Harris?
the guy? Yeah, Sam Harris, yeah. And Peter Singer, he's not really he does talk about animal rights, but he's like a flexible vegan. Like he if he's traveling, he'll eat animal products. Or animal, I don't know if he eats animal flesh, but he definitely eats animals like dairy and eggs. Yeah. So I wouldn't call that vegan. I mean, if just because you're traveling and you could, I mean, I've traveled and I can avoid it, right? So like, just because you're traveling, you're like, oh, okay, I'll pay for this. I wouldn't call you vegan. So yeah, Peter Singer, he's very, to be honest, I haven't dove deep into him. Like you said, vegan postmortem, I haven't dove into everything you said, but just from that, I was like, that doesn't seem right. That's a little weird.
I just don't I don't understand the linguistic distinction between moral and ethical. I thought they're kind of explaining the same thing.
Kind of. I think ethical is like let's just Google it. Hold on.
Yeah.
I think ethical is like a more like a broader structure, or like, hold on. Ethical.
Hello, Friendo. Hello, Mobius Maximus, Apex Dream. Hello, Leon Kustra. How you doing? Gigliardo. I love that name. That's amazing. Who else is here? Martin Kevin. Hi, what's up? How are you doing? And Elliot Davis is here. Hello, my friend. Tone is here. Hello. Yeah. I'm with you.
Based on this, I think ethics ethics are like a is like a general rule. So ethics are like a rule. So like it's like it's more organized. So ethics is like rules, right? So it's like an organized set of rules that are supposed to like tell you what's right, what's wrong, right? So that's usually for like society, for like larger organized things. Morals are more personal. So
I think you still have the Google search on your live stream.
I know. I'm showing the I'm showing the thing. So yeah, those are the two. I think though that's the distinction is like personal morals. Your own personal right and wrong is like morals, but when you try and like apply that, or when you try and apply morals to a larger area or like a more organized structure, then it becomes ethics. So they're essentially the same thing. It's just ethics are more structured, organized for like a larger group, sounds like.
Funny Thirsty says ethics is the science of morals.
That's interesting. Yeah, that sounds about right.
Okay, I understand. So I want to go back, sorry, a little bit. Like that.
Moral and ethical veganism. Now, they're not mutually exclusive, and they both overlap depending on what those morals and ethics are. Veganism, as defined by the Vegan Society, is, quote, a philosophy and way of living which seeks to exclude, as far as possible and practicable, all forms of exploitation of and cruelty to animals for food, clothing, or any other purpose. Moral veganism centers on an individual's sense of right and wrong and is usually grounded in personal convictions and the belief that consuming or using animal products causes unnecessary harm to animals.
No, where did you get that? I mean, kinda.
First of all,
I wouldn't word it like that.
It's not a belief.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, it comes
down
to
like it's a
value.
fucking fact. Like,
but
right? The
consuming animal products
yeah.
does cause unnecessary harm to animals. So like, yeah, that's not like, can you explain to me how what we do to like the animal products that we have, it doesn't cause unnecessary harm? Like, is that harm somehow necessary? Unless you're claiming like nutrition or something, but like that's not, I think that's all pretty well debunked at this point. So yeah, that's...
But also usually like most vegans are talking about exploitation, right? Some of us talking about killing as well. I think killing is important. If a vegan world is only not exploiting animals, but the same number of animals or more are getting killed in a vegan world, I personally don't think that's a vegan world, right?
Sure.
Harm is not really concentrated on. Maybe that's what Peter Singer is concentrating on as a utilitarian, I guess. So.
Yeah, well, he read the vegan definition and then said something else after. So that seems a little dishonest.
Yeah.
He read the vegan definition and then said belief that veganism causes the belief that buying animal products causes unnecessary harm, which again, that's not the definition he just read, does not like lead to that necessarily.
Yeah.
But also, even with that claim, it's not it does cause unnecessary harm. Like that's not a belief. It's not like, oh yeah, I believe that chopping the flesh off of an animal doesn't cause unnecessary harm. No, it does. Like it factually just does.
Yeah.
Extreme examples are that even...
So I think he's framing this just to say, oh, the morals are subjective. It's good for you vegans that you like believe this thing that I personally don't believe in. It's like because he doesn't believe that the animals are actually like being exploited or the way he said, hurt by animal products. That's fine. That's fine. Morals are subjective though.
Yeah, what he's and I find this a lot when talking to people like doing activism. He's doing this thing where instead of talking about his own values or reflecting on it like individually, he's talking about it like an outsider looking in on society, right? So they do this thing where you ask them, well, do you think this is wrong? Or what's stopping you, right, from going vegan? They go, well, they say people are selfish, or, well, people are never going to stop doing this because it's sold via capitalism. And there's like, they start going off on these rants
spoiler
Yeah, spoiler about the issues within our system and the issues with like people as a whole, instead of actually reflecting on their own self, on themselves. So I think in this case, the way he's wording this, he's trying to avoid his own accountability or avoid reflecting on his own actions and values.
Yeah.
And he's just trying to look at it from an outsider looking in, which is why it's coming out weird, which is why he's like, for his avoidance is causing him to reword things and to like say the belief and stuff, because he doesn't like he's trying to avoid the truth. I would say he's trying to avoid the fact that that is what's happening.
Well, it's the most common way of avoidance. He's strawmanning. It's a fucking strawman. Despite him reading the definition, he then rewards it to address that part, right? To address the rewarded part.
Yeah, no, really interesting. The tactics here is already kind of weird.
Yeah,
but
let's go.
Honey production and service animals are a form of cruelty. So I guess.
Yeah.
Nope, nobody said that.
I said that.
But also, again, nobody in the definition. It's not just about cruelty. Again, like he's taking the cruelty part and using that as the whole definition. Like, are people cruel to service animals? No. But our service animals are slaves that we have bred into existence and trained to serve us? Absolutely.
People are cruel. I'm sorry. People are cruel to service animals. I'm taking a hard stance on it. I'm sorry.
Sure.
I keep seeing a fucking police horse that definitely has rheumatoid arthritis. Rheumatoid arthritis in big, large animals is very fucking visible. She has rheumatoid arthritis, and she has to drag around this huge person with a huge amount of gear as well on her back while being visibly suffering. So.
Yeah. Sorry, I when I think of service animals, because typically a service animal is a very specific thing. I guess a police horse would be a service animal, but what I was thinking of are like the dogs that help blind people get around.
Oh, those are often abused as well and used as the means to an end and not the end. But also, like I used to, there was a trial focusing on service dogs, not for the blind, but for, again, like police and stuff like that. Those animals are incredibly, like, the same things that happens like on, you can say that happens on factory farms or small farms, the same thing happens there. The animal is not valued for his or herself. The animal is valued for what they can provide and for what the needs of the system are. So they're put in cages that are too small for them, where they raised to be incredibly excited and excitable, so they keep hurting their tails and stuff like that. So everything that is done to them is not done from thinking about them. It's first thinking about the system that wants to exploit them, and then maybe if they can, they think about the animals as well.
No, great points. Yeah, I didn't know all that, so that's good. My point was, even like, forget about service. Let's say people who own dogs, right? People who own dogs and cats, most of them do care for their dogs, do love their animals, whatever, right? But the fact that we are breeding animals to serve humans, right, to be our slaves, even if you treat your slaves nice, at the end of the day, they're still slaves. It's still fucked up, right? It's still wrong. It would still be against my values. So that's the thing, is like, no, like, you don't have to agree, or sorry, there doesn't have to be cruelty involved in service animals or in, the pet industry for it to still be wrong. Like, he's almost saying, like, if there's no cruelty, then it's fine. And that's not true. That's not the vegan definition. That's not vegan values. That's not what we believe. And he read what it said. So I don't know how he's you're right. It is kind of a straw man. He's kind of debunking or dissecting vegan arguments that aren't correct. Like he's just making up like things that we're saying that we're not saying. So yeah,
Or
I don't
he's
know.
saying things as if they are not factual when they are factual, like the honey industry. Again, pending if the bees are actually sentient, we are not sure. But we are taking precaution. If they are sentient, and it seems to indicate, I don't know. I see nociception in honeybees. I don't know. I could be wrong. But if they are sentient, it is an incredibly cruel industry to them. So, but also it's not about cruelty specifically. It's about exploitation as well. There is an end there. So it's exploitation and cruelty. Both have to be true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So he's picking and choosing, as if, you couldn't say that about, let's say, the beef industry. You couldn't say, it's factually incorrect that the beef industry is cruel to animals. Like, what are you doing? Why are you looking for the weakest argument to debunk? Go for the strongest one, right?
Yeah.
Letting blind people fall into open manholes is perfectly acceptable, despite how we accidentally bred.
We do actually have technology these days that makes it avoidable, right, for the blind. Most blind people that I see, and I see quite a lot because there is a blind center somewhere in the vicinity of my house, they don't have service animals. I'm sorry, they don't. They either ask people around them to help them out, and they have like sticks. They have their phone to help them out, you know?
Well, and also, and I don't mean this to be, I mean, it's mostly vegans here, but I don't want to sound insensitive, but how is somebody being blind the animal's problem?
Yeah.
Right? Like, I mean, of course, I want blind people to be able to walk around and to be able to be given the accommodations they need to live, to live free and live happy. But how is that that's like me enslaving a child because I'm blind and I need my problem fixed or I need my problem improved. Like we should be finding solutions outside of the box of, it's okay to exploit or enslave someone else to help me. You know what I mean? Like that's crazy to me.
Yeah.
So, I just don't see that as a good justification. When people are like, well, what about the medications or what about this? It's like, how is that their problem? Like that's a problem for us. I agree. And yeah, I want that solved, but I'm not going to do that at the expense of someone else, right? You could extend that logic to, I have a problem. If I just beat you up or if I kill you or if I drain your blood or whatever, I'll fix that problem. That's not a good justification. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. It would be much more beneficial to a blind human, to have another human in servitude. Just saying, but it's still fucking immoral. It's immoral to put somebody in forced servitude. It is.
But what they could do is there could be a system where you pay somebody to help you, right? And I think that there are people who do help, like disabled people, for wage. But again, we don't want to, like the same thing with the slave ownership. Why pay someone when you could breed and own someone and make them do whatever you want? Yeah. Right. So that's the thing. But I'm not saying blind people should have to pay to get help. I'm just saying, you know,
the fucking government should do that. The government already subsidizes a bunch of stuff.
Is not the answer.
Yeah, exactly. 1 second. Sorry.
No problem. All right. Hello, everybody in the chat. For those of you still here, what's up, Tone? I didn't see you. Hello, Leon.
Oh, much better. All right. I fixed my lighting. My lighting was still in... don't worry. Don't panic. Big dream. It's okay. I'm here. Okay, let's go.
Bred dogs to want jobs. I don't think modern man can be...
Hold on.
How we accidentally bred dogs to want jobs. I don't think modern man...
We did not accidentally do anything. That was intentional. We bred them over and over again specifically to be service animals to us.
But wait, hold on. Who the fuck said that dogs want jobs?
That's a great point as well. But
want jobs?
Yeah, it's hard to say like what they want truly, but I think there is a good argument that, like, especially because of hunting, we have bred many breeds of dogs specifically to like be good at listening, to follow orders, to we do have breeds of dogs that do that, right? And that's not accidental. He's saying, oh, like, first of all, he said we accidentally bred them. How, if we're breeding them, you're intentionally reproducing, and like, there is no accident. He's like, oh, my bad, I just accidentally bred some humans that are okay with slavery. It's like, what are you talking? That's not true. You don't accidentally do that. And to your point, Vegan Postmortem, there's no way to know that they want to do these jobs, that they're consenting. You know, oh, I bred a child to be good at child labor, right? They're great at sewing, so therefore I'm just gonna have them sew and make money for me.
Oh, absolutely. There's one little point I have to make. It really annoys me because this week I released a video on my channel and it had fuck all views, right? Why did it have fuck all views? Well, first of all, I'm a tiny channel, but second of all, even the people who are subscribed to me, most of them didn't watch it. That script, every word of it was in its place. This guy, seems to me, he wrote a script, right? And he played with words so much that we are like only 3 minutes in, lost all meaning. He contradicted himself already several times in this. And this like moral panic about stuff, as if vegans want people to fall into, it's like almost propagandism going on here. Oh, vegans want blind people to fall into into holes in the ground or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, I don't know if there was, I'd have to review it to hear like if there was an actual like logical contradiction, but it is dishonest. Like, if this guy clearly, right, he seems like a smart enough person, right? He speaks well, he has a YouTube channel, he talks about what seems like social issues and economy. He seems smart enough to understand how to form arguments, or how to how to cite sources. I'm assuming, maybe not, but this seems very dishonest, right? He's showing definitions, but he's claiming that vegans think other things. He's saying that animals were accidentally bred to do something, like something about it. And this is what I'm talking about, is to cope, right? This is what people do, right? Psychologically, they use these tactics to try and deal, or trying to avoid the root issue, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's what he's doing. And I mean, Harland, his name's Harland, right?
Yeah.
Harland, I will give you the opportunity. I mean, I would love, if you want to come on the channel and you want to talk about veganism, I'd love to have a conversation / debate about veganism. I think talking to a vegan, or better yet, a vegan activist, maybe would help clear up all this confusion you have, because this seems a little dishonest. And if you aren't being dishonest, then I need some clarity here, man. So I mean, if you want to talk on the channel, come on over. But yeah, this seems very dishonest from where I'm sitting.
Yeah. I watched it a few weeks ago, so I don't even remember if he addresses the big stuff. Again, the beef industry, the dairy industry, the egg industry, the thing that people participate in 3 times a day, not the esoteric stuff, however many thousands of animals who are service animals, or the might not be sentient bees, or the what did he say? What was the last thing he said?
Despite how we accidentally bred dogs.
Accidentally bred dogs. Like, the almost smaller issues. I don't remember if he addresses the big, the huge, the 3 times a day issues. We'll see.
Oh, let's take a look.
Dogs to want jobs. I don't think modern man can be held accountable for our ancestors feeding scraps to wolves. Veganism often utilizes a framework of ethics, which involves not just personal beliefs, but also principles about how humans should treat all sentient beings, the environment, labor, and exploitation, and for some, yeah, you can eat oysters, I guess. However, arguing the morals and ethics of veganism can turn into a never-ending series of thought experiments about the subjective experience of fish, or whether it's morally acceptable to save a human child over a puppy from a burning building. Obviously, most
obviously those are things that will be incredibly contentious in the vegan world, because that would actually fall into individual values and not the somewhat more unified vegan values of avoiding exploitation and killing of animals, or exploitation at least. Most vegans will agree with me on the exploitation part, not so much on the killing part.
Yeah, no, again, none of this has to do with veganism. I don't know what this has to do. This is like me being racist because even though I agree with Martin Luther King Jr., he cheated on his wife or something. You know, like this is like me. This doesn't make any sense. Like I'm just waiting for any amount of substance. Like I just these little screenshots of random Reddit posts or Reddit comments. What does this have to do with anything? So please, I'm waiting for. I just want to need to hear some value. Otherwise, how many views does this video have?
About 4,000.
Okay, now all right. I mean, that's a lot, but that's not too bad. Okay, continue.
Vegans aren't living their lives going around starting Marxist debates about veganism by citing consequentialism or utilitarianism, and don't usually.
Or fucking deontology.
Don't say that word.
Yeah. Seriously, man, you will get us banned out of vegan society or whatever.
Get all pissy when there are no vegan options at a housewarming party.
It's one of those things where you find out that your friends don't give a shit about you. And you get pissy about that, not necessarily about the fact that there is no food. You get pissy about the fact that your friends don't give a shit enough about you enough to actually, like, I don't know, Google vegan takeout or something. You know what I mean?
And look, personally, I don't look if I'm friends with someone non-vegan, I understand if I'm friends with somebody non-vegan, I'm friends with somebody non-vegan. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I have vegan friends who I know that every time we get together, we're eating vegan, we're talking about veganism, we're doing something, where, we have similar values. But if I'm friends with someone non-vegan, I'm not friends with that many non-vegans. Usually they're childhood friends or friends I met, when I just went vegan. So if I'm friends with non-vegans, I'm preparing my own food. I'm getting ready to, do something. I'm getting, I'm prepared for that. And it's fine, right? It's fine. Like, would I want them to be vegan? Sure. Have I talked to them about veganism? Yes. But I'm friends with them for other I'm friends with them for, we have other common interests. We have other things, other experiences, that we've had together. So if I show up to their house and they don't have many or no vegan options, many or any vegan options, then that's fine. I've packed food, or I've eaten before, or I'm getting ready to eat after. Like, it is what it is.
Yeah.
So I don't,
And know what usually happens when I show up to an event where everybody brings a little bit of food, and I'm like the only vegan or one of the only vegans? I bring spanking food that runs out immediately. Everybody just eats that shit. And all the non-vegan food just stays there, getting cold, warm, whatever the fuck the temperature is. And I'm stuck there. So even if I bring a lot of vegan food, really tasty vegan food, I eat before I leave the house. Because I know it's going to be run out, and I'm going to just get stuck there looking at all the, animal abuse.
That's like so interesting, because if I ever bring I'll bring a vegan chocolate cake, right? We're talking about everyone loves chocolate cake, right? Like, you're not going to be like, ooh, vegetables. So vegan chocolate cake, and almost nobody eats it. And I think it's because, I don't know if it's because they know it's vegan or what, but it's chocolate cake. Really? Like, oh no, I don't eat vegan food. Oh, you don't eat chocolate cake? Like, really? Like, come on. Like, what are we talking about?
Oh, I'm sorry, there are no butt food in there. There's no ass food in the vegan chocolate cake. So
always grinds my gears. And when they're like, oh no, I don't like synthetic food. It's like, what? It's chocolate cake. Like, this is the same chocolate cake that you eat. It's just without eggs or milk. Yeah. Really easy. I don't understand.
I don't eat synthetic food. Oh, fuck. People suck. Jesus.
I
That's
know.
what's your name? Sorry, I forgot. Harland. You could have attacked that. You could have attacked the fact that vegans really hate the rest of the world.
Yeah. That I would have been like, okay, you got us. All right.
Fair
you got
point.
All right, we're people hater. All right, you got us.
I grew up in the punk scene surrounded by vegans who are also straight edge, and very rarely did they berate anyone for hitting the In-N-Out drive-thru at midnight. The problem is, the ones that do behave like this tend to be the loudest and most insufferable, who do more harm to the movement and build.
Dude, get off Reddit. What the fuck?
Yeah, this guy's in the straight edge punk. See, this guy's a punk, everyone. But like, also there's a difference between like daily life and activism. Like, on a daily basis, I don't pass by like Burger King and start like berating people. I'm not like, you fucking assholes, like I don't do that. But when I'm doing activism, I will. Like when I'm doing activism, I will call people, I will tell people you're abusing animals, you're paying for this, you're doing that. I will like be a lot more aggressive and direct when I'm out there to do that, right? So if he's looking at vegan pages that are doing activism online, or if he's looking at videos where vegans are doing animal rights activism or vegan activism, that's what you're going to see, right? There are so many vegans who you don't even know they're vegan, right? Like people really do like go under the radar. Like my wife, Julia doesn't do activism, right? She's warming up to it. I think she'll end up doing some with me, but she doesn't do activism. And unless, like, if it weren't for people asking her, no one would ever know she's vegan.
Yeah.
Right. But she eats all vegan food. She avoids all, all the animal products, or like leather, she buys the cruelty-free makeup. All of that's there. And it's only because people know that her husband, me, is a vegan activist. Do they ask her? Do they like, oh, what do you eat? Or what do you do?
Yeah.
So like, I don't know. I feel like this is like a huge stereotype that, and to his credit, he did say it's a small minority. So he is only talking about a small minority.
But that's what he's talking about, right?
Right. But who cares? Like, why are we focusing on the small minority of like weird or from his point of view of like annoying or like whatever vegans? Why don't we just focus on the grander vegan message? I don't understand.
And guys, spoiler, it's being set up as if he's gonna talk about some incredibly controversial character, like the vegan teacher or something. No, the dude is gonna shit on Ed Winters of all people. I mean, that's amazing. So that's coming up.
I just want to look at the chat for a second. Hold on.
All right.
Martin Kevin said, I took chocolate vegan ice cream to a friend's house and they wouldn't even try it. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, we're talking like cookies, ice cream, like you won't try it just because it says vegan on it. Like we're not even talking about raw broccoli. Like if I brought raw broccoli, I'm like, hey man, you got to try this. And people are like, no, I'm like, okay, they just hate vegetables, which a lot of people should be eating more vegetables. But ice cream, like we're talking about things designed to taste good.
Yeah. Martin, next time take Oreo cookies. And after that person eats one, tell them, Oreo cookies are vegan. Haha.
They're like, oh, I'm so glad you love my vegan cookie. The vegan cookies I brought.
Yeah.
Tone asks about the puppies. Why are we under any obligation to save either? That's the point. Yeah, it comes down to like personal preference at that point. Because if you're saving someone, again, it's like mischaracterizing veganism. Like veganism is not equivalent to saving a human or a dog or an animal from a burning building. That's not it at all. But he's like, the way he's narrating this is, again, seems dishonest.
Yeah. Shall we continue? Oh.
Yeah, go for it.
More resentment among the general public when they do pull out their ethically sourced soapbox.
Sorry, but the resentment comes from the meat eater aisle. It's like, it's unprovoked, seriously. Literally, most of the time, fucking unprovoked, just abuse and like name calling and all that shit. Vegans don't deserve this. I promise you. There's like, as you said, the small minority that is kind of loud and will like insult and shit like that. Those people got broken by you people, by the meat eaters, by the people who don't give a shit and won't take a stance and won't take like a basically tiny chance to save somebody's life. So we got broken by you. We are the product of you people.
Yeah, but also, I 100% agree. And I was going to say, like, the people who are on the opposing side are always annoyed by the other ones. Yeah. Like, this is not unique to veganism, right? Liberals are annoyed by conservatives. Conservatives are annoyed by liberals. Anti-racists are annoyed by racists. Racists are annoyed by anti-racists. Like, you have, like, this is how it goes. Like, what do you expect? Like, these are very big issues. They have a lot of impact on actual sentient individual lives. What are we just all supposed to like coexist, like the sticker? You know what I mean? Like, what do you expect? Yeah, this is going to happen.
Harlan, you know what that makes you? A contrarian.
But what do I know? I'm not an expert in Kantian ethics or cultural relativism. Because this topic can be kind of touchy, I feel like I have to keep saying this. I am not at all opposed to vegan philosophy, nor do I have some...
Then why aren't you vegan? Tell me why you aren't vegan. Harlan, come on my channel. Tell me why you aren't vegan.
Some grudge against anyone who is vegan, especially as it pertains to things like the environment, capitalism, and animal cruelty. Honestly, I take more issue with the hardcore anti-vegan crowd who don't think at all about their consumption habits. It's irresponsible and...
Do you? Harlan, we need answers.
He's just not getting it. He's not getting it. He's like, I get it, environment, anti-cruelty. He's like, he reminds me, and I never understood this about like the punk rock movement. He reminds me of like a buzzword person, right? Where somebody who will align with certain ideals, but doesn't really get it. Like, he's not really like, it's not just about the environment and anti-cruelty and capitalism and all of these things, right? We're talking about how we treat other individuals. We're talking about individuals and how we treat them, right? As a whole, right? This extends, it's like a web, right? Where it's a huge idea and it extends to everything, right? So like, why is caring about the environment important, right? It's because of how caring about the environment will impact individuals, sentient people, sentient animals on the planet, right? Why should we care about how we treat animals? It's not because, oh man, it's not cool to be cruel to them. No, it's because they are individuals who have their own lives and we are abusing and exploiting them.
Yeah.
Like it seems very surface level. Like he's not getting real, he's just saying these things. He's like, yeah, man, I get it. No, you don't get it. Harlan, you don't get it.
Well, yeah, like if you got it, it's like, you anti-racist folks. I get it. Racism is kind of a bummer. But I'm gonna go abuse the black person in my backyard or something. You know what I mean? It's like,
and it's like, again, it reminds me of people who aren't racist just because you're not supposed to be racist. Like, do you understand the difference between like someone who isn't racist because you're not supposed to be racist and someone who isn't racist because they actually recognize other people, like people that are different than them, as individuals who deserve rights? Like, he comes off, and again, I'm making an assumption here, but he comes off as somebody who follows these rules because those are the rules to follow. Like, it makes sense. You just follow them, like if he were to think a little bit deeper about these issues, he would recognize that all of them are kind of connected by the same root, which is caring about individuals.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
And borderline sociopathic to not consider how your existence might impact the world around you. I think it's also pretty obvious that there are a lot of similarities between being vegan and being a leftist. Both vegan and leftist ideologies emphasize reducing harm and exploitation, the liberation...
No, not reducing. The goal is to stop, my dude.
Right. Yeah, but I think I know. I think he's saying, like, obviously stopping, yes. But when he says reducing, I think he means like practically.
No. Trust me. Spoiler.
Maybe, yeah, maybe he's being dishonest again, or again straw manning. We'll see.
Of marginalized and oppressed groups in capitalist systems and
Yeah,
challenging.
just be a little less racist. Is what he's saying, just to make this straw man, right? With veganism, be a little less racist. Reduce racism.
And he keeps talking about capitalism. Like I've heard this from other people. I don't know what veganism has to really do with capitalism. Like, I understand.
Oh, no. Spoiler. He's going to use capitalism against veganism.
Right. Yeah, of course. Well, my favorite line is there's no ethical consumption under capitalism or whatever. And again, I just don't. But you can avoid, like, anyway.
We're getting there. We're getting there.
Power structures that perpetuate inequality where one is more focused on non-human animals and the other on the working class. Sorry, my teleprompter freaked out. They both argue for a shift away from profit-driven systems that abuse sentient beings for the benefit of the few and stress collective responsibility. I say all of this because there's a lot of misconception that being vegan is just about consuming a plant-based diet for health or dietary reasons.
Okay.
You know, credit where credit is due. Yeah, correct.
Okay, but again, this makes it even more. Makes it seem even more like if he seems to understand it, but then word things in a very kind of slippery way.
I think it's lip service.
Oh no, it's definitely. I mean, clearly he's not vegan, so it's definitely lip service. Yeah. But I think what I'm saying is like it makes it seem even more dishonest now that he said that.
It can be as simple as that, but for many, it's a tool to be used to critique capitalism for creating many, if not all, of the issues we face in the modern world. Yet, there are a...
By the way, Harland has more boxes than you, Brendan. Where are your boxes?
Yeah, I actually cleaned up my boxes. Sorry, everybody. I can still show you what was in the box. That's fine, but it's a clear box now. But also, he said veganism is a critique of a capitalistic system. That's not what we're doing.
I mean,
that's not what we're doing.
Like, the result of the vegan movement, like the result that we basically settled on as the primary fight against exploitation of animals is boycott. So he's not completely wrong.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, probably the biggest driver of the exploitation of animals is profit. Like it is like a profitable system, you know, beef industry, dairy, all these industries. But once the industries are gone, we would still be against people exploiting animals personally. Like I'm not like cool.
I don't even think that's true though. I don't even think that profit is what moves the animal industry forward these days, because most dairy producers, right? When I say dairy, I guess not dairy producers, but like dairy distributors figured it out that if they tap into the plant-based milk thing, they're actually making more profit, right? Because first of all, they mark up the money, like they mark up the price, and the ingredients are literally like cheap shit. So like it's much cheaper to make soy milk or even oat milk. Oat milk is incredibly cheap than to raise an entire cow for a year before you even can start impregnating her. And then you're basically waiting for 1 year, 9 months to get your first liter of milk, right, from a cow. So it can't be more expensive to make oats, right?
Yeah, that's why I think it is about, because if it wasn't about profit, we'd have like it would be more principle based, but it's not. Like we see all of these dairy companies producing dairy-free milk, dairy-free yogurt, dairy-free butter. Like they're producing alternatives like Philadelphia, right? The cream cheese brand. They have vegan cream cheese. All of these companies are producing vegan stuff because now they know that if they dip into that, they will make money, or maybe they're losing money, so they're dipping into that.
So that's the thing. I think the thing that actually keeps moving it forward is just generational indoctrination. Tomorrow on my channel, I'm going to continue talking about 4-H, probably. I don't know. I haven't decided yet what I'm going to talk about. And 4-H literally exists for that, to indoctrinate young kids into being farmers, right?
Yeah, 4-H is messed up, man.
Yeah. The second thing I think that keeps like perpetuating it is the literal fallacy that we need to, right? That this is how we feed the world. So I think those are the main two things that just it keeps animal agriculture alive.
So yeah. So when I say profit, I'm talking about the people producing the animal products. Obviously, the people consuming, the consumers are. Yeah, I agree with you. I think the consumers are indoctrinated and
well, I think it's the same machine, right? The consumers say, "I want it, I need it," right? And the farmers go, "Yeah, we're feeding the world. We're doing all this crappy, disgusting shit, but we're heroes that feed the world, right?"
Right,
Basically.
but without the consumers, the farmers wouldn't go into it.
That's what I'm saying. It's a self-feeding machine. The entire world is like is like being the entire animal agriculture is being perpetuated by this fallacy. It's incorrect. We do not need that shit.
So Harlan, if you're listening to this, you kind of got one point right, where it kind of, yes, veganism in a way with the way that we boycott animal products, it does address the issues of profiting off of sentient individual exploitation, but it's bigger than that. It's not like with humans. We're talking about animals who have no voice, whether it's in industry or not. They are exploited. They literally have no rights other than when you own them, right? So when you own them, they have rights, but if you don't, so yeah, it's not, capitalism is part of it. The profiting off of their exploitation is part of it, but that's not the main issue.
Yeah.
A loud minority who would have you believe it's a simple moral issue only about eliminating cruelty towards animals, despite how...
Allie said, hey, Allie, animals are here with us, not for us, said, look at the mess in this guy's background. I just noticed, hold on. Is this a picture or is this his actual background? This guy's got a door broken off?
I think he's sitting in a garage.
Oh my God. Hold on. What's so funny is the whole time my eyes would go to that door and I was like, why are my eyes going to the door? And I just realized it because it's like broken off. That's really funny.
Yeah.
Okay. Good call out. That's funny.
Yeah. I'm going to go back a bit.
It's a simple moral issue only about eliminating cruelty towards animals, despite how obviously intertwined it is with oppressive, exploitative systems, and there is no room for compromise or nuance on the subject.
Again, he still mischaracterized veganism. It's not about eliminating cruelty, right? That's part of it. I mean, we are against cruelty, but he said he's saying that it's only about eliminating cruelty to animals, which that's not true, right? And again, just because like our goals align with a lot of like maybe leftist goals or anti-capitalist goals doesn't mean it's a part of the same movement. It's animal rights. We have our own movement.
Yeah. It's like he read the definition, he found the word useful, and that's the word he's using, disregarding the entire definition.
No, you mean the word cruelty?
Yeah. The word cruelty is in the definition of veganism by the Vegan Society.
Right. So he read that, he saw cruelty, he said, oh, vegans are just against cruelty.
Yeah.
It's weird. As someone who experiences empathy...
I mean, it's weird because you're making a straw man, so your straw man is weird. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Oh, wait, rewind it. He said, as someone who experiences empathy. Oh, he's an empath. Oh, you gotta love it. All right, rewind it for a second.
Or nuance on the subject. It's weird. As someone who experiences empathy, I take no joy in knowing that a cow or a chicken died in order for me to be able to eat a burrito.
Just pause for a second. That's a big red flag that you don't really experience. Like someone, he says, as somebody who experiences empathy. What are you, a robot? That's a weird thing to say. As somebody who has experienced the emotion or the sensation of empathy, I feel bad when I pay for chickens to have their throats slit. You're not empathetic. If that's your claim, you are not empathetic, my friend. That's weird. That's a weird thing to say.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, well, I take no joy in a cow or a chicken dying for my burrito, but I'm not gonna do anything about it.
Right, right. So do you take no, like, do you take no joy, or are you just saying that? Oh man, that
Lip service.
dude, that like, there's like this. I don't want to like, I want to critique his actual arguments, but Harlan, I'm sorry, man, but this kind of who you are as a person, you're kind of like anti-capital liberal thing. And look, I'm a liberal. I'm like really on the left, but this is just like really annoying to me because like you should be vegan, just like you should be anti-racist, just like you should be a feminist, just like you should be, trying to find a better economic system. You should be all these things, but for some reason you're not a vegan. It doesn't make any sense. All right, go on.
Do you think I don't know, maybe I should delve into his channel. Do you think he's like Vosh, like says that there's no ethical consumption under capitalism, therefore I'm gonna do whatever the fuck I want, even outside of the vegan argument, right? Or you just like buys everything and like like
Well, no,
drives
I think
like
this guy...
a 5-minute walk, he drives in his car or something like that.
No, I think he cares. Like, I think his thing is we need to address the umbrella, which is capitalism, right?
Yeah.
So consumer choice. But again, at the same time, he says, oh, it would be psychopathic to not consider the impact that you have on others, right?
Yeah.
So he acknowledges that individuals should care. But again, it's one of those things where he picks and chooses, right? Like, okay, let's care about the environment and about other humans first and more than anything, right? If you are racist, if you harm someone else, if you exploit someone else, you are a bad person, and I am against that. But when it comes to the animals, I'm not going to berate you. I'm not going to judge you. I feel bad, but what am I going to do? Capitalism. So it's this double standard.
Yeah.
That has no logical bearing. Like, I would love to, Harlan, I promise I'll be nice. Come on the channel. Just come talk to us. Please.
Maybe you should write to him, Brendan.
Maybe I will. We'll see. I'm not that interested. If he sees the video and wants to come on, but somebody like this, I'm not that interested. But I just kidding. Harlan, if you're watching this, I'm so interested. Please come on the channel.
Yeah. We should listen, Brendan, you should take a step back because we're only about 6 minutes into the 30-minute video.
Okay. Now I'm
maybe there are arguments. Maybe there are good ones.
Let's wait. Let's just watch 5 minutes and not say anything. Go for it.
I don't think I can do that.
Does that make me a bad person or murderer of animals and not a leftist? No. That makes it sound like...
it makes you someone who pays for the murder of animals, yeah. Like...
I'm no better than this fucking guy, and I don't even get meat in my burrito most of the time. Shit, I don't even consume animal products every day. In the middle of writing this, I noticed someone left a condescending comment on my old PETA video, who seems to be a member of that loud minority. What timing? If I remember correctly, that video was mostly about PETA's tone-deaf ads, not that eating foie gras is a-okay. My criticism of PETA...
Like, I don't see a difference between a foie gras and cheese.
Is he going to show the comment? Because he didn't.
Inconsistent actions and messaging, and that they're not free from scrutiny. I offered steps for people wanting to live more ethically who find it...
I guess not. I guess he's not going to show the comment.
...hard when every food item you buy uses some kind of animal product or labor in its manufacturing.
No.
I don't think that's true, but again...
Correct.
Yeah, I don't know what he means by labor, if he's talking about like manure or something, but I think that's mostly in organic farming anyway. Oh, is this a comment? Thanks, Harlan Springs. For 1 second, I thought I should have a bad conscience for eating copious amounts of factory farm meat, in specific foie gras. I can now keep eating multiple times the average amount of meat consumption from my country, but I'm not to be blamed since poor people and people with digestion problems exist. I am in neither of these groups, but apparently their existence frees me. Yes. Okay. Yeah, that's also a great thing. A lot of these people say, well, what about third world countries? They can't go vegan, so I'm not going vegan. Yeah,
spoiler.
That's also a great point. Sorry, what?
Spoiler.
Oh, okay. Did he say? Yeah, that's another thing. Is like, how do you think change happens? Right? It's got to trickle down. Thanks to the video, I now know that factory farming is a binary system. It either exists or it does not exist. Right? the number of animals suffering until the point where we get rid of capitalism is pretty much irrelevant, and we should not be. Yeah, that's a great point also. While we're trying to fix our economic system, which, I mean, if you're trying to uproot an economics, like a whole system, that's a lot harder than boycotting individual industries. You're telling me that you're fine with all of these animals dying and being exploited on your behalf just because, well, it was capitalism, you know, like, don't you want to like be against that? I don't know. This video did not really explain why only factory farming is bad and not, for example, killing animals at tiny fractions of the lifespans. I would conclude it is because the animals' well-being only counts until the point when we want to eat them, and the rest of their lives conveniently have no value. Lucky for us. This is a great comment. Whoever left this,
amazing,
great comment. Killing happy animals is only bad when PETA does it. I am going to put all my investments into factory farming now and eat more foie gras. And remember, I am not more to blame than anyone else since there is no conscientious consumption under capitalism. Yeah. So
listen, hold on. Harland has a problem with, he specifically said, oh, I didn't even talk about foie gras. Harland, do you have a problem with a person giving a fucking example? When you took the entire vegan movement, right? And took the smallest exploitation, like the most gray, I guess, exploited, they're not gray, they're black and white, but exploitations of animals, right? As an example, right? Vegans don't just talk about honey and service animals, right? We talk about the big stuff as well.
And the thing is, he said one of those vegans in the minority. I'm sorry, is this comment rude? Are they berating you?
Oh my God, it's
insulting
sarcastic
you?
though. Holy shit.
No, yeah, it's definitely sarcastic, but you know, they're not berating you. They're not rude to you. They didn't insult you. They didn't do anything. They're literally pointing out how silly you sound in the video you uploaded to the internet, to the public. You uploaded this video. And these quotes, so the quotes, there is no conscientious consumption under capitalism. That's a quote. So I'm assuming he's quoting Harlan. So he does say that. And then underneath, it says, if you have the means, you should definitely try to buy your meat locally. And then he crosses it, the commenter crosses it out and says, go vegan. So
my hero, seriously.
If you have the means, okay. So what have the means means, right? You are probably in the middle class, right? Or like if you have enough money to buy local, so you have more money. You are in an area that has access to food. So if you have the means to buy your meat locally, why buy the meat at all? Why not just not pay for these animals to be exploited? Because that's an option, right? That is a clear option. I understand capitalism is, you know, with a profit-driven system, there's going to be people doing illegal things. There's going to be industries that harm others or exploit others. But when there is a clear option, right, to either, okay, you pay for animals to be exploited or you don't, why would you not pick the second option of not exploiting them? It's not making sense to me.
The commenter kindly corrected my coda of you should try buying local meat to you should try to go vegan, as if any harm reduction that isn't 100% vegan isn't good enough.
Sorry, buying locally doesn't reduce harm. And I'm gonna die on that fucking hill as someone who has the Instagram account of spying on small farms and the homesteaders and all those people who sell on farmer markets. Sometimes animals have worse welfare there. And veganism is not about welfare. It's about ending the exploitation and killing of animals. Sorry.
No.
Right.
Go for it.
My point was that capitalism makes it nearly impossible to consume anything without causing some harm. Exploitation is a feature and not a...
I don't really think that's true. I don't think that, for instance, let's take the vegan example, right? We still harm animals in some way, right? Through crop deaths, we have some harm there, even some killing. I don't think it's because of capitalism, I'm sorry. I think it's because of animal ag.
Right. Well, I was going to say, let's say there was no such thing as money, right? No such thing as profit, no such thing as money. Producing the amount of crops we need for humans to survive, producing homes for humans, producing like roads for humans to drive on, all of that's going to harm the planet and harm animals, right? So even like the action of feeding 8 billion humans is going to displace and harm animals, right? That has nothing to do with capitalism, right? So like, yeah,
I
you
don't
have to
even
go to
think
the
that's
store.
true, Brandon, these days. I'm sorry. I don't think there are many cities that are built on just like on in fucking forests or on hills. I don't know. Maybe it's just like a regional thing, but
Well, no. My
that,
point is, even if it's two animals, right? The point
yeah,
is like
okay.
someone, like even one mouse, right? The point is like, yeah, I mean, it is going to. I'm not making a number. Like some people, somebody commented on Instagram. They said, or maybe on YouTube, they said vegan farms kill 300 times more animals than factory farms or animal agriculture. And I commented and said, okay, so there's trillions, including fish, trillions of animals being exploited and killed each year for food, clothing, whatever. You're telling me that a crop farm, right, a plant farm kills 300 times that? I said, please provide me a source. I said, if you can't provide a source, you're just making shit up. So, but my point is like human presence on the planet, even if it's two animals, right, does displace and harm other animals, right? There's no way, but like no way about it. Just like how me getting a job over someone else, that person might end up homeless because I took the job from them, right? Now that's more capitalist, but the point is, my point is this. Point is this. In order to live with a population of 8 billion people, other species of animals are almost certainly going to be negatively affected in one way or another. But how does that justify us taking specific members of the animal kingdom and enslaving them over and over and over again, year after year after year? It doesn't make any sense, right? It's not, I don't see, oh, well, just because we can't avoid all negative harm on the planet, that means that enslaving animals on top of that harm is kosher, is a-okay. That's such a horrible argument to me.
Yeah. But I appreciate the lip service of, I don't even eat animal products every day. Nice.
Right.
A bug in our current system.
He's like, I don't even get meat in my burrito. He's like, why are you guys mad at me? I don't even get meat in my burrito, guys.
Yeah.
Causing some harm. Exploitation is a feature and not a bug in our current system. I wasn't saying that all actions are equally harmful or that nothing matters.
Like, I wouldn't even say that is true. Like, I don't know, I buy, like, fair trade chocolate and coffee, right? Those are fair pay. Do the farmers work hard? Yeah, I bet. But they are well compensated for their work, right? Do they work harder than me these days? Yeah, most certainly most people do. But that doesn't mean that it's inherent exploitation when you buy fair trade. And you, Harlan, can buy fair trade. You just need to, you can buy vegan. In fact, those two are not exclusive and can work together. If you buy only vegan food, you save about 30% cost on your food haul, and you can spend that 30% buying fair trade chocolate and coffee and buying a bit more expensive, I don't know, like a vegan drip.
And that's the question I want to ask him is, where is the line between, okay, fair and like fair profit to work ratio and exploitation, right? Because he's saying exploitation is a feature and not a whatever he said, right? My question is, so like how much money? So like the way at my job, right? I think I make good money. Would I like to make more money? Yes. Could I benefit from more money? Yes. Would it allow me to afford more things that I sometimes need or more things that I want? Yes. But do I feel like I'm being exploited? No, I get paid. I chose this job. Like, I just want to know where the line.
I guess to be fair, like, I think, okay, I'm going to try to be more charitable. So I think what he means by it's a feature, not a bug, is that inherently, when you're born into a capitalist society, you have to work. You have no choice, right? Either you have to work or you're homeless. Basically.
Sure, but what's the alternative? Like, no matter what, like I've played this thought experiment, right? I had this idea that we could get rid of money. So I had this idea where this system where like you have to pick a trade, right? So like everyone has to work on farms or dishwash or something, right? It was a long time ago, but I had this idea where like you could have people doing jobs and doing research and doing all these things without the incentive of profit, without the incentive of money. But the thing is, either way, shit has to get done, right? So either way, we have to grow food. We have to maintain the things that we do on a daily basis. Yeah. So no matter what, like, what's the alternative? Just being born. In that case, it's you either do shit or you fucking die. Like, you know, like I just want to know what the alternative would be, right? Yeah. I think socialism, like, communism. Like, I want to know what his idea is.
I don't think like 10,000 years ago when agriculture, when we like moved our food system into agricultural structure, right? I don't think you can say that was capitalism, right? Inherently. Like most people became farmers or were farmers or whatever. And they would trade food for money, and the money was traded back for food and stuff like that, right? So there is, as you said, right, 8 billion people need to be fed, need to have infrastructure, need to have heating, right? So people used to need to, or maybe still do, mine coal and shit like that, right? All those things started capitalism then, like, maybe. But they weren't inherently capitalistic because shit needs to be done for, as you said, right?
For human survival.
Yeah. That said, I actually am pro UBS, Universal Basic Income. I think I would get more shit done if I had universal basic income. And frankly, I think I should have disability and should not be made to do things, you know?
Well, that was my idea. Is like, okay, if you give everyone, so like everyone who's born has their basic needs met. So they have food, healthcare, shelter, right? So food, healthcare, shelter, all those things, those are free. Those are included with being a person on the planet. And then for extra income or for like,
for self-fulfillment, the way you said, for self-fulfillment, if somebody wants to be an artist, a scientist, blah, 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 blah. Yeah.
Right. For the actual like motivation of discovery or motivation of doing that work. But then again, right, we need people, we need janitors, we need people washing dishes, we need bus drivers, we need these jobs that most people wouldn't like. Everyone wants to grow up and do something like art, be an artist or be an astronaut or be whatever, right? So
well, you could do national service or something like that. You could have programs with national service.
Yeah, I think if your basic needs are met, and then everyone at a certain age, there's like a mandatory, like you have to like be a janitor for like 3 years or so, you know? So like, it's like a cycle, you know, like everyone has a mandatory service that they have to give back to society, do their part in doing the job that maybe nobody wants to do, or maybe less people want to do or something, you know, I don't know. But I'm just saying like, I'm not an economy expert. So yeah. I just want to know what his alternative, because where his line of, okay, no matter what, in capitalism is exploitation. Okay, but how much money do you have to get paid for set amount of work? Because capitalism also, like having a free market, also creates a lot of innovation. It creates a lot of choice, right? So like as little choice as you have, like you have to work, you have to make money, or else you'll starve, you'll get homeless. There's also a lot of like opportunity as well. So I don't know. I think it's tricky when you're like viewing veganism as something under capitalism. It gets a little tricky because now you're talking about all this stuff, right? Mm-hmm. It's a separate issue, I think.
Yeah, I guess so. Anyways, that's just a fucking tangent. We don't even need to go into this shit.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Was acknowledging that moral perfection is difficult in such a system, if not impossible. And if we're getting philosophical about it, this argument is reductio ad absurdum, a tactic a lot of vegans tend to utilize in bad faith, which twists any point to an extreme absurd conclusion that if no consumption is entirely conscientious, then we might as well put the accelerationist pedal to the metal. People like
Sorry, I did not understand this thing at all. How is our position a reductio ad absurdum?
I think he's saying,
I don't understand.
like, I think so. He's kind of saying two conflicting things, I think, from what I'm understanding. He's saying that it's hard to be morally perfect underneath a capitalistic system. But then he's saying that just because it's hard to be morally perfect doesn't mean you do whatever you want.
Yeah.
So which is it? Should we create lines and follow a set of principles to be as morally good as we can be? Or is there no more morality underneath a capitalistic system, so we should just do what we want to do, right? It's almost like he's saying two conflicting messages here. I don't know.
Yeah. So I, while you were talking about the thing, I was trying to search what are the alternatives to capitalism, and I don't know. All of those things don't seem appealing. Like, I don't. That doesn't matter. This is a tangent. I'm sorry. I was just.
Maybe we could do a separate stream on.
Oh my god. Maybe not, because I know so little about it.
Me too. Yeah, it's not my area of expertise at all.
Yeah.
like this love to ignore how difficult going vegan is for those with dietary restrictions or allergies, or who live in food deserts or don't have
Who got all those things? Tell us in the comments.
time to buy a bunch of vegetables that need to be prepped and cooked, or even the money.
Wait. Okay, now see now. Okay. That's what I'm getting. The whole capitalism thing. He's just bullshitting. So he's just not bullshit. Like he makes some valid points about capitalism, but that's not what that has nothing to do with veganism, right? He's framing it in a way that like, hey guys, don't judge me because capitalism. And then when he actually tells us the excuses for why you can't be vegan, it's like the easiest shit to debunk. Like the easiest shit. Oh, you got vegetables you gotta cook. You got vegetables. Like, okay, you gotta cook other shit. Okay, you're eating fast food. Go to Taco Bell. $2 for a burrito. Easy.
Yeah.
Easy vegan burrito.
So here's the thing. I'm again going to try to be charitable. He's trying to make the claim that not all people can go vegan. And he's basing it on all the things that we've heard like so many times and debunked so many times. Is it harder for a person who lives in a food desert to be vegan? Yeah, I guess. But I'm kind of living it now. Right now, I can't really cook. I can't really cut vegetables, right? I don't know. I can't be bothered to even go like the vegetables. Absolute crap in here right now. So I'm basically cooking junk food, right? Like vegan noodles and stuff like that.
Well, so that's what I was going to say. I think we need to separate the word vegan and healthy, right? If you are poor, if you live in an area where there's no fresh food, or the local supermarket is far away and all you have is fast food, it is very difficult to be healthy, right? To actually get the things you need to avoid chronic disease, to be mentally well, right?
Yeah.
That doesn't mean it's hard to be vegan.
Yeah,
right?
If you're eating junk food already, what do you think? Does it hinder the person's health? If they pop up to McDonald's every single day?
I was going to say, there's this idea that if you eat McDonald's every day, at least you're eating animal products versus there's this idea that if you eat McDonald's every day, that's better than being vegan and eating fast food every day.
Yeah.
Like somehow there's this idea that like, oh, they're in a food desert. They're poor. They can only afford fast food. So they can't be vegan. No. They can't be healthy. But they could be vegan, right? Taco Bell. I could eat Taco Bell 3 times a day, right?
Yeah.
One burrito. So each burrito is 500 calories or 600 calories. One burrito is $2.50.
Yeah.
So for $7.50 a day, I could eat 3 burritos And I'm not going to be very healthy because I'm eating just Taco Bell burritos. But at the same time, that's better than if I got the triple beef burrito, which is high in saturated fat, high in cholesterol, lower in fiber. So like, actually, I would love to see a study of somebody who survives on McDonald's switch to like Taco Bell and do like the bean burritos and see if their health improves. I would just be curious about that. But yeah, again, there's a difference between health and veganism.
Yeah.
Money for pre-made vegan meals that cost an arm and a leg. I don't know.
Taco Bell burrito.
Who promised you pre-made vegan meals? Especially when there's only like 1% of vegans, wherever the fuck.
Right. Also, which is it? Do you have access to food or do you not? Because if you have
pre-made meals is a fucking luxury.
I was gonna say most grocery stores, the basic ones, don't have vegan pre-made meals, right? So you either got to cook your own food, or you have enough money and access to where you can buy vegan pre-made meals. It's one or the other.
Well, sorry, pre-made meals a cheap food in America, I guess. What I'm asking is like, because where I am, if you want a pre-made food, that's incredibly expensive. You can't.
That's what he's saying. Yeah.
I'm not talking specifically about vegan food, right? Pre-made food. I'm talking about pre-made food. Like if you eat pre-made food and you turning vegan, right? And you're looking for vegan pre-made food. That's his claim, right? You're already eating pre-made food, then you turn in vegan, and then there's really hard to find vegan.
Well, I don't know if I don't think that's specifically his claim. I think he's just saying that pre-made vegan meals are expensive. That's all he's saying. And like,
aren't pre-made meals expensive? Then you're already in a point of privilege, my dude.
Yeah, pre-made meals are already more expensive than cooking. Yeah. So that was what I was saying. I'm saying like, because first he said, oh, you don't have time to cook vegetables. And then he said vegan pre-made meals are expensive. But like, if you don't, like, the set of circumstances he's laying out doesn't really make sense. Like when we're talking about like socioeconomic factors, you either are poor and have to rely on pre-made meals or fast food, or you have the money or have the access to grocery stores.
Yeah.
So again, it's just a little good. Like, I don't think there's anyone who doesn't have access to grocery stores and also can't afford pre-made meals or fast food.
Yeah.
I mean, if we're talking about like third world countries, maybe, but it sounds like he's talking about in America.
Yeah, it's like two separate things, right? Let's say you live in a food desert where all you have is like crisps and I don't know, like just a huge bunch of junk food, just packeted things, right? First of all, half of that is gonna be vegan, so you can be turn vegan there, and it doesn't like hinder your ability to basically eat the same way, right? If that's how you're eating already, that's the options you have. If you have options to buy fruit and veggies and pre-made food, you're switching vegan, you already have the privilege of buying pre-made food. And if vegan food is a bit more expensive, you're going to have to make some changes. You're going to once in a while cook a fucking meal. You're going to have to.
But also, again, the reason why these food deserts, first of all, food deserts shouldn't exist in general. And that's that's one of the issues. But the reason why these places don't offer, like, it's like this thing of, well, there's no vegan food in these areas. So don't even try. Like, how we get vegan food in those areas is by more people going vegan.
Yeah.
Right? If the demand raises, there'll be more vegan. Did somebody super chat? What was that?
Ooh.
I heard a notification. Hold on.
It's not showing up in the chat.
No, am I just making stuff up?
Maybe it's showing up through what's its name? Through the OBS, not OBS. What do you have?
I have it's Streamlabs, but it's the same thing.
Streamlabs.
Thing. hold on.
Let's continue a little bit because my dude, it's been 2 hours and we have barely moved the needle.
I know. Go
I
ahead.
don't know if you've noticed, but we're all getting price gouged into oblivion right now, and vegan food has been greenwashed for decades, so unless you're making 6 figures, affording it regularly is a joke. If you've
My food
Six
hole
figures.
is the cheapest out of all people I know. When I tell them what my food hole is, yeah, right now it's updated and it's gone up about 25%, which is a lot. Everybody's food hole gone up. And
You could spend as little or as much as you want, really.
yeah,
So yeah, 6 figure. What is this guy talking? This guy's never even tried. How can you make these claims if you've never actually like gone in and tried? I don't make 6 figures. I promise you guys, I make way less than 6 figures, and I have no issue. So.
I work part-time and I'm getting paid all right, but for a part-time, I'm like
Right.
spending all the money I have, right? Basically.
you've gone to a normal grocery store lately, you've probably also noticed they don't typically carry many vegan options, and
I think this is another fucking fallacy. They're talking about the specific like meat alternatives or whatever. Half the grocery store is gonna be vegan. It's gonna be the cheap stuff. It's gonna be in the dry
Yeah.
beans and lentils stuff.
Potatoes, beans, lentils, whole grains, all
Holy
these
fuck.
things, cereals, frozen fruit, vegetable. Like he's just kind of jumbling all of these things in one thing. Like he's just saying like, well, if you have allergies and you can't afford to cook vegetables, and then you can't afford pre-made meals, and you don't have the time, and the grocery stores, I don't know if you noticed, but they don't have very many options. Like he's jumbling all these things at once as if they're all existing at the same time for everyone, and that's not true at all. I don't know what he's talking about.
Yeah.
places that do are expensive as shit. Whole Foods is owned by Amazon, so
That's the thing. You don't have to
Walmart?
go to Whole Foods to be fucking vegan. I almost never go to specialty store. I only go to specialty stores to buy the fair trade coffee, and that's it.
I go for the junk food, but yeah, I mean, there's no like Walmart, I'll speak for America. Walmart, Market Basket, all the like basic grocery stores, like like your town grocery store has so many vegan options.
any vegan option you buy is funding a corporation that's more destructive to the environment and the working class than eating a bunch of beans will ever.
Okay, so let's pay for them destroying the environment and destroying the animals. Let's do both. Let's not stop one of those things.
Yeah, I was gonna say animal agriculture is incredibly damaging to the environment. So I don't know what.
Yeah, you're doing like 67% of the job just by going vegan. And I'm saying that, no, it's like 33% of the job. Why am I saying that? 33% of food are wasted and 33% of human food is fed to fucking animals.
Harlan,
offset.
If you want to actually talk about veganism, this is what you're talking about. You're talking about socio-economic issues. You're talking about capitalism. You're talking about environment. If you actually want to talk about veganism, which is, against the exploitation of animals,
Yeah.
I would please come on the channel, man.
Yeah.
This is just
This is
silly.
basically whataboutism.
Right.
Said. Just go vegan. There are no other considerations, you monster. This
Nobody fucking says that. Not a fucking single person in this world.
No, it's just we
Commenter-
also recognize that a lot of these other issues are bullshit.
Yeah.
Like all the things you just said are more or less bullshit. So that's why we say you don't have to worry about that. All of that is ridiculous. Here are sources. Here are ways you could go around that. Go ahead, go vegan.
There are real issues, right? There are real, like, yes, vegan meat alternatives cost more than meat. The reason is actual capitalism, right?
Right, subsidies. Yeah. Or actually, that might be that might be not cap. That might, well, I guess because
subsidies. Oh, is it? Yeah. It's anti-capitalism, actually.
Yeah,
right?
kind of. Yeah.
Yeah, because subsidies are not a capitalistic notion. It's like a socialist notion.
makes it sound so simple, who is just one example of the insufferable vegan archetype who gives the cause a bad name by refusing to engage with its complexity. Again, I agree that consuming animal products at the rate and manner we do is extremely harmful and that we should try at all costs to reduce the harm it causes. The factory...
No. And slavery. Don't reduce
Yeah, he's
slavery.
not recognizing them as individuals. He's not thinking about the animals. He's just thinking in broad terms of like, this is bad.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, why is it bad? Well, the environment. No, wrong. You're not. That's not veganism.
Yeah.
Factory farming industrial complex isn't just bad for animals, it's bad for the planet and humans as well. Oh, for fuck's sake. It's an enormous problem in the US, and I can only assume most of Western society. Have you seen an English breakfast? But it sometimes comes across as if going vegan is the only way to offset the environmental impact or exploitation.
It's the best way.
I would say, but again, environment aside, he's about to say exploitation of animals, I think, or exploitation. It's the only way.
Labor that factory farming causes. There are
look, here we go. Exploitation of labor. No, I mean, first of all, if you boycott it, then yeah, maybe. But also, we should not have people slitting animals' throats and bolt gunning them in the head for a living. That should not be a job.
Yeah.
Right? Just like being a hitman shouldn't be a job, or being an executioner shouldn't be a job. Like, these things should not be jobs. They cause severe PTSD in people if we're talking about humans. But veganism, I don't know if I could claim veganism is the best way to offset exploitation in the labor industry or in labor, but it is the only way to boycott and reject the exploitation of animals. Let's get us to be vegan. There's no other way to do it.
I mean, listen, I think I can make the argument that vegan products, like actual vegan companies that create products, they don't exploit the employees, right? It's still a capitalistic structure, right? They still ask people to donate their time, like not donate, but to allocate their time and to get money for it, right? But it's not an exploitative system. There is like a local chocolatier like company, and they pay very well to their vegan employers. It's because it's a vegan company. I wouldn't expect that from Alpro, because it's not a vegan company, and because it continues to exploit animals.
Hold on, I gotta read the chat for a second because they're talking mad
I'm gonna
shit
make
about
coffee,
us.
okay?
Okay, hold on. Yes, thank you for the subscriber. Whoever, I think it was Zach Sasu. Thank you for the for subscribing to the channel. I appreciate it. You guys are talking mad shit up in here. Let's see. VP, a friend who says VPM. Let's move this along. Also VPM stops every other word. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to just, because we want to say stuff, but we'll move it along. Hold on. Pigstream, is he an excusatarian? Yeah, probably. Aluwali Blue Vegan says, LMAO a friendo, let's go through 5 minutes with no stopping. 2 seconds later, boss. Look, man, yeah, you're right. All right, they're talking mad shit about us. So we gotta let's actually go. Let's go to like the 11-minute mark and not say anything. Let's just give it a second.
No way.
Plenty of other ways individuals can offset the harm done to the environment. And honestly, to even place the blame of pollution and climate change on the individual is a pretty weak argument for vegan.
Nobody's doing that. Nobody's doing that. That's a huge straw man. Nobody said that.
When just 57 companies are responsible for 80% of all greenhouse gas emissions. There are people far more vigilant about their consumption habits beyond just being vegan who are arguably better people than the vegan, jumping on social media to squint in disapproval of Dua Lipa, eating
I love spicy head.
Pigeon pie, and then making wild assumptions that she'll also eat cats and dogs and dolphins.
It's not wild assumptions, it's a fucking hypothetical. Jesus.
Right. Well, also it's where the logic leads.
Yeah.
It's literally like that's where the logic leads. If do you have a problem with eating Harlan? Do you have a problem with eating cats, dogs, and dolphins? Because if you do, I sense I'm smelling a contradiction there, my friend.
Yep.
So I don't know. Yeah, go ahead.
Interesting that Dua Lipa says she'll try anything. I guess that means she's looking forward to trying dogs, cats, and dolphins too. I mean,
she says she'll
that's not an assumption.
anything.
She literally says. Go ahead. Yeah. We're saying the same thing. She literally said she'll try anything. That's not an assumption. Her words were, "I will try anything."
It's not even a hypothetical. I was completely wrong. It's direct fucking quote.
Harlan, this is like really dishonest. Like very, very like you have to either be really, you either have to lack the ability to track things well, or you have to be very dishonest to frame it in this way. Like, come on.
Considering she'll eat and promote foie gras, one of the most cruel and unethical foods on the planet, surely Dua can have no moral aversion to consuming a slaughtered dog. The truth is, Dua may consider herself to be some kind of culinary maverick, but in reality she's clearly someone who looks down on animals and views their suffering and lives as insignificant.
Trying one unconventional food doesn't logically mean someone would be willing to eat any and all animals.
Roman, she said she'll try anything.
Also, it's not
Especially animals like
one
dogs.
unconventional food. We're talking about individuals. So he's just framing it. And just really quick, pet peeve. When a lot of these, I don't like that he's framing environmental care under the same umbrella as moral, right? So like environmental care does not equal morality, right? There are things we could do that could benefit the environment that are immoral to do, right? I could nuke half the population. Great for the environment, horrible for the individuals and immoral. What are we talking about?
Yeah.
Doesn't logically mean someone would be willing to eat any and all animals, especially animals like dogs and cats that are considered taboo to consume. It's the
He's
the
like,
video-
especially our beloved dogs and cats. Come on.
Yeah. Oh, but didn't you know, vegans? Those are pets. Well, that's your projection on the animals. You're not considering the actual individual.
video game violence leads to real world violence argument, and we
No, it's not like that at all.
No, she's actually eating the animals. It's not like she's playing a video game being like, oh, I love killing animals. She's actually paying for the animals to be killed. She's actually eating their flesh.
Yeah, she's not like buying ham in Stardew or something, right? She's
Right.
buying ham in real life.
She's not in the
When you say
metaverse.
this
Yeah.
kind of shit, it immediately delegitimizes your credibility. This is Earthling Ed, by the way, a vegan animal rights advocate, activist,
Vegan Jesus to you, sir.
Vegan Jesus.
and author who I stumbled upon in the comments of a post on r/vegan, asserting that eating pigeon is a slippery slope that will inevitably lead to more extreme behavior like caninicide, which just
No, he didn't claim a slippery slope.
Nope.
He literally addressed the claim.
Yeah, he addressed what she said. And also, logically, right? Like, there's no, like, what's the difference between a cow, a dog, a pigeon, a whale, a dolphin, where it's justified to eat one, not the other? I don't.
Yeah.
Can you give us that?
It's
Can you
considered
give
a
us that, Harlan?
taboo, and therefore it's a slippery slope.
Right.
isn't true, considering Dua Lipa has yet to eat her pet dog. As far as I know, her willingness to try pigeon also doesn't inherently imply a disregard for animal suffering or a belief that animal lives are insignificant. Earthling
I agree. It's the fact that she's eating animals at all that implies that. Yeah, it's not the type of animal that don't get it twisted, Harlan. It's not the kind of animal we are concerned with. It's the fact that she's eating them at all.
Yeah.
Right? But to say that, oh, she's eating a pigeon, that doesn't mean she'll eat a dog. Well, based on her logic of I'll try anything, I mean, that dogs are included in that. So
Yeah. Maybe she's not gonna eat her dog. She'll
Right,
eat
her
a
own
dog.
yeah.
Ed is distorting what is a throwaway line from a food interview and then attacking that instead of engaging with whatever her actual beliefs and actions are outside of
She said she'd eat anything.
Right. She should have been more specific. Oh, I'll eat anything except for this animal, that animal, that animal. And again, that's a contradiction. Harlan, you are the one distorting things. You're the one like re-narrating this whole thing
Yeah.
to try and fit whatever you're trying to fit it into.
Yeah. Totally. That's a good word, re-narrating. Yeah.
what her lunch order is. People like Ed are so unbearably serious and unfunny, it's no wonder the general public have such a disdain for vegans. In his defense, I kind of understand why he makes this kind of content. It gets engagement that furthers his reach and helps spread his message. But it's also a little disappointing to see because he also puts out content that is actually helpful, where he has enlightening debates with those who disagree with him, where he doesn't make inflammatory statements and backs up his rationale in very persuasive ways that I completely respect.
When I was young, we used to keep chickens, and these chickens were the best looked after chickens in the world. They had loads of place to run around, lots of grain. We even fed them worms. It was great. And occasionally they would produce eggs, and we would eat them. What is the possible ethical objection to me eating this natural byproduct of a chicken which has not been fertilized and which they have no good for?
Yeah, I think it's a very good argument in the sense of, obviously, when we talk about the immorality of certain actions, there are degrees of harm and suffering involved. And so, of course, a situation such as that isn't comparable to the situation that most people partake in, which is by buying eggs that have come from sort of commercial farming units, whether they be free range, organic, or otherwise. And so in such a scenario, I don't necessarily know that I can make a compelling argument against the decision that you make in that moment if, of course, these animals were rescued from a farm, are given a very good life, are not going to be killed prematurely. And maybe certain things have been done to try and encourage those hens to eat their own eggs, for example. They can replace lost nutrients by consuming their own eggs. So there are things that I would recommend doing over consuming those eggs yourself.
Right.
But of course, when you talk about the ethical conundrum there, it is far more ethical than what most people buy.
But you wouldn't personally eat the egg, would you?
No, I would feed it back to the hens. You know, laying an egg, it requires a huge number of nutrients, a lot of nutrients for these hens. So by feeding the egg back to the hen, it allows them to replace those lost nutrients.
Right.
Because
I gotta say, I always hated Ed's stance on backyard chicken eggs. Yikes. And that's what Harland chose as like the best argument for veganism.
Right. Well, because Ed is, I was going to say, Ed is probably the nicest and the easiest vegan to talk to, because he will like be very nice. Like he will really like, sometimes he'll let things go and
Yeah.
he'll word things in a way that's really like appeasing almost. But yeah, well, I mean, in this circumstance, and I hope he goes on, but in this circumstance, I can't say that I understand his point. He's saying like, this guy is asking, okay, you have chickens that you didn't buy from the animal agriculture industry.
Yeah.
You are taking care of them as if, you know, it's like you adopted a dog essentially, right? So you're taking care of them, and these chickens are laying more eggs than they can know what to do with. Now, for me, I think eggs are gross, and I also think, you know, they're bad for you. But in this case, again, if the eggs that the chickens don't eat themselves, I can't make a very strong argument that if you take one of those eggs and eat it, unfertilized eggs, you are doing something like immoral. I can't really make that strong of an argument for it. Now, what I will say is, most of the time when you get these chickens, you're buying them from the exploitation animal agriculture industry, which I'm against. If you're buying chickens specifically to eat their eggs, you're exploiting them, which I'm against. So I would say that's wrong.
That's
Yeah.
my problem. I think
I
that's
agree.
what the guy on the left was saying.
And well, so I agree with you. If somebody is buying chickens to own them, strictly to have them for their eggs, then that's a big no-no. Yeah, I agree. That would still be against veganism. So
Yeah.
as you maybe already know, hens have been selectively bred to lay sort of 300 plus eggs a year, and that takes a huge toll on their body. And if we can try and replace those lost nutrients,
But mine
it's
didn't
beneficial
do
for
that.
them.
You see, this is my point. I just cannot, from a layman's point of view, I just can't see the moral objection to me eating that egg.
But it's a little bit of a red herring in the sense of, I'm not necessarily here to compel you to not eat that egg.
Right.
What I'm here to try and compel everyone else in this world, well, in this country, hopefully those of us who are listening, is to stop purchasing these products which are causing suffering and harm to animals and are resulting in animals being killed.
However, his content
I
swings
think-
wildly between
Sorry.
that.
Sorry, I know we're not reacting to everything yet, but I think that guy's being a little dishonest. For him to all egg-laying hens lay that many eggs, how old is it? Was he from a time before they were like genetically modified or bred to do that? Like all egg-laying hens do that. So, and I don't know if he said when he was a kid. So he was a kid. He probably doesn't remember, and his parents probably bought them from a farm or from an animal agriculture industry. So there's a lot of shit that's wrong with that.
Yeah, even when I was a kid, we had about a dozen hens, right? And they laid about 3 or 4 eggs every single day. So that's already way too more than you expect from like a feral pheasant or whatever, you know?
Yeah.
And are resulting in animals being killed.
However, his content swings wildly between that and suggesting anyone who consumes animal products is directly responsible for their torture and suffering.
What can someone...
They
They
are.
are. I don't know that they are.
You paying the money for it. You give the money to the farmer, and farmer says, "Yay, money for the product that I've
I know
been
what he's
working
saying.
on."
I know what he's saying. I know what he's saying. He's saying that because he said specifically, he said suffering or torture and suffering, right? Or
Yeah,
torture and yeah. So what he's saying is it's the consumers paying for the animal products, but they're not paying for the torture. They're not paying for the suffering. It's the farmer's fault. It's capitalism's fault for not ensuring better treatment and welfare conditions for those animals. To a certain extent, yeah, I mean, the consumer doesn't necessarily want the animals they're eating to be tortured, but number one, that's what they're paying for. And number two, even without the torture, even without the suffering, they're still being exploited. They're still getting a bolt gun to the head. They're still getting their throat slit at baby age, right? We're talking about months to a couple years old.
Do to an animal that they might enjoy.
Spoiler, prepare to the biggest straw man in this video so far. Sorry.
What can someone do to an animal that they might enjoy?
What are you trying to kill it? For food?
Sure, kill for food, but what else?
What, torture?
Torture? Sure.
Okay, wait, no, you're getting into torturing. I never said torturing an animal
No,
is
you didn't.
fine.
But if someone
killing
enjoys
them
it
for food is a different story. That's the food chain.
Oh
That
my
is
God,
eating.
such a oh my God, what a fucking Harlan.
It
Harlan?
gets worse, by the way, but
Dude.
go on.
Because what he's just applying his logic consistently, right? The guy said, I enjoy eating animal products. And he said, okay, or I enjoy eating animal flesh. Okay, what else? What can you what can you use enjoyment to justify? What else can you use enjoyment to justify, right? Torturing animals, raping animals, whatever, right? That's consistent logic. This is a very honest conversation. He took this clip a little bit out of context, didn't explain it, and is acting as if because this guy wants to eat animals, he also wants to torture animals. That's not what this conversation is. Harlan, I'm not going to curse at you, but this is just really messed up, man. Really dishonest.
Really dishonest, and it gets worse.
You're doing it for enjoyment. And so if and you just said that you enjoyed it, okay? And then I asked you, does that mean we can justify anything through enjoyment when it comes to animals? And you said yes. That means that torturing is permissible. It means that kicking a dog because you find it fun is permissible. It means that, dog fighting is permissible.
By the way, did you see this interview of Ed with this guy?
Probably a while ago.
Yeah. Everybody else in the chat, did you see this one? Because in a second, it's going to become incredibly clear how Harlan is absolutely strawmanning Ed here.
You didn't say those
Putting words
things.
in my mouth now, sir.
I'm using the logic that you're using to show you why that logic shouldn't be used to morally justify what we do.
You're broadening my logic.
I'm applying it consistently to show it's flawed.
That's it.
It may be flawed, but I'm not torturing animals. I just enjoy the way they're food.
It's asinine to say that the person who eats the fish they bought at a store is directly responsible for or in favor of said torture.
This
That's not what was
motherfucker.
said.
That guy.
That's not what was said at all.
Yeah, hold on. But that guy, he's an actual fisherman. He fishes food. He doesn't buy it at the fucking store. That's what I
That's even
remember
worse.
about that fucking
Yeah.
conversation. An absolute fucking airhead who goes and fishes, right?
But also, there's no way to, even at the store yourself, there's no way to fish without torture. Like fish specifically, because how it's done, you hook them in the mouth and then you suffocate them on land.
Yeah.
You have to torture them. Like there's no way without torturing them.
Well, almost everything is. There's no way without torturing them and producing a product that people can actually eat, right? No animals fucking euthanized in a slaughterhouse.
Sure. But what I mean is like if we're considering a shot to the head as like the humane thing, right? As like one and done, right? I disagree, vegan postmortem. But I'm saying if that's the line, fish, you can't do that, right? You can't take a fish and shoot him in the head because then the fish is, you're shooting a bullet through, like it just wouldn't work. So you have to hook them first, which is painful, as we know.
Oh, just collect like
the nets,
fucking
the
millions of
huge
individuals
nets.
in the net, yeah.
Yeah, and then they all suffocate. So we're talking about, like, imagine you drowning. That's what they're experiencing without being in water. So
Literal fucking waterboarding, but in reverse for fish.
In reverse, yeah, you're airboarding them. So like
Yeah.
that's the thing is like you can't get fish without torturing. So that's
I mean,
crazy.
maybe he means like, well, the definition of torture is this specific thing to get information or whatever. I don't know.
Well, I think
Oh.
to most people, when people think of animal torture, they think of like that 10-year-old kid who's like taking a mouse and like twisting it or something, you know, like
Yeah.
they're thinking of like a sadistic, like psychopathic animal torture, which that is messed up and that does happen. But there's a lot of like standard practices and a lot of like societally normal things
Yeah.
that are also very like cruel and
Yeah.
are torturous to animals.
Yeah, so to be fair, like all the definitions of torture are like legal ones. So maybe it's a bit of a hyperbole, I guess. To say that animals, I don't know, it's not
Sure,
the
we could
most
say
accurate,
unnecessary
right?
suffering
Yeah,
if
yeah,
that's
yeah.
what he'd like. Yeah. But anyway,
I don't know
really
if
dishonest.
unnecessary suffering. I would say, I don't know. I would consider it torture. I would consider like I don't know, like forceful childbirth torture in case of humans and in case of animals, right?
I would probably agree. Yeah, I'd have
Yeah.
to think about it, but I'd probably agree.
So I don't know. So it's it's not a hyperbole. I guess. I guess it's just a colloquial definition of the word torture. Like if I say I tortured the dog, Harland would understand what I mean.
Right. Yeah. I think he's using it in layman terms. I don't think he means it like torturing terrorists to get
Yeah,
in for. I don't think that's what he means. But really dishonest either way. Like that's crazy the way he framed this.
Yeah.
For reasons we will get into later. Calling someone a torturer of animals is pretty incendiary, and I'm unclear as to what this interaction achieves besides being a gotcha moment for other vegans to rally around on YouTube in order to pat them
Dude, did you watch that fucking interview? That flake was absolutely unbearable, disgusting person.
Like people like this reminds me of how important it is to at least have a basic understanding of logic and reasoning. Like
Yeah.
if you don't have a basic understanding, this is what happens. You just say gibberish. You just say gibberish. You're like, oh, you can't track arguments. You can track logic. You don't have consistent logic yourself. Well, just because they ate a pigeon doesn't mean they're going to eat a dog. Well, logically, it probably does, right?
Yeah.
Depending on their position. So again, this is like, I wish everyone was taught a basic logic and critical reasoning in school, but they aren't. It's like one of the most important things I've ever learned in my life, but they aren't taught it. I don't know.
You didn't learn it at school.
No,
Oh.
online.
themselves on the back. I'm also not going to defend the guy he's arguing with either because he contradicts himself multiple times and justifies animal death by saying he likes the way it tastes. But he also doesn't seem to have a handle on the moral and ethical
No, sorry, don't pause it. Go ahead. Sorry. I was just saying that's the whole point.
implications of the debate he's found himself in. Ed is a skilled and seasoned public speaker and debater and clearly very knowledgeable on the subject, while it appears the other guy is just some dude who enjoys a tuna sandwich now and again.
First of all, no, he's a fucking hunter and he's fucking fisherman. Second of all, that's the fucking point.
That's
Having
the
those
point.
discussions is the point.
It's to
Teaching
educate
people
the
logic.
uneducated.
Yeah,
That's the whole point.
yeah.
That's ridiculous. Like,
I do have to-
can you do better? Would you beat Earthling Ed in a debate? Go for it. Sign up for it.
Ah, shit. Brandon here is offering himself for a debate. So,
Dude,
Harlan.
anytime, Harlan. Please, I would love to have a conversation with you.
While it appears the other guy is just some dude who enjoys a tuna sandwich now and again. I do have to point out that he did choose to sit down and debate Ed, but Ed seems smart enough to know that there's a bit of an intellectual mismatch here, and he comes
That's the problem. That's the problem. Silly, uneducated when it comes to logic. Twinks are fucking excusing their mindless consumption, and you, what do you expect us to do? Just let it go. Oh, he's too stupid to be vegan. No, animals are fucking being exploited and killed for that person.
Right. Like, imagine if everyone I talked to on the street, I was like, you know what? I seem to know more about you on this topic. So I'm just gonna let you go. I'm not gonna educate you.
Yeah.
Or like imagine teachers in school. They're like, there seems to be an educational mismatch. None of you know math yet, so there's no point in telling you how to do math. You should already know it. Like, how do you think people learn things?
Yeah.
Like you have to get better. You have to surround yourself with people who know more than you, right? They talk about that in athletics all the time.
Yeah.
Like there's so many people who would wrestle or play basketball or whatever with people who are way better than them because that makes you better. That's the same idea, just with intellect or with intelligence.
Yeah. I used the word twink before. I definitely didn't mean that word. I like twinks. Twinks are nice.
Yeah,
people.
you did use the word twink. I thought
used.
it was kinda
I
funny.
don't know. I thought I meant. I don't know what word I was looking for, but that's the word that came out of my mouth, and I apologize. I apologize to twinks. I love twinks.
You're gonna have to issue a public apology. That's it.
Yeah.
You're getting canceled.
You know what a twink is, right?
Yeah,
Who a twink is. Okay. I didn't mean a Twinkie. I meant a twink. But I didn't mean a twink. All right. Let's go.
across as condescending throughout. Ed's argumentation isn't even all that effective itself at times, and he uses the same reductive logic.
I think Ed lost a little bit in that interview. He just lost his patience. I don't blame him. That guy was insufferable.
Fallacy he did in the Dua Lipa video. This whole interaction feels more like an
He didn't do fallacy. He was
what
bang
was the
on.
fallacy?
Yeah.
Yeah, what was the fallacy?
interrogation than
I don't remember him saying what it was.
Oh, he said the fallacy was that he made the leap of logic that Dua would eat a dog and a cat.
No, he didn't.
Yeah.
He extended her logic and said first of all, she said she'd eat anything. So
Yeah.
what are we supposed to take?
There you
I
go.
mean, she literally said that, but even if she didn't, if we're talking about like a lot, like granted, we don't know what her position would be or her whatever, but I mean, we could assume that the logic would extend. But anyway.
Yeah.
an opportunity
Now it's gonna kill me. I don't know what word I was looking for.
to educate. This isn't meaningful dialogue, and it alienates the other person by putting him on the defensive.
No one gives a shit about him. This is filmed and put on YouTube. It's for YouTube. No one cares about this one person. That one person is never gonna go vegan. He doesn't have the mental capacity to.
Also, it's voluntary. So especially on college campuses, I think you have to sign a form. You have to sign a release form. So like these people are doing it like they're volunteering. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Rather than allowing him to reflect in some way. Seeing someone who
That
is
dude is not capable of reflection. Those eyes are fucking empty. There is nothing behind them.
less informed or prepared being aggressively questioned can make veganism, or any cause,
Saying that Ed is aggressive in anything, that's the biggest strawman.
Dude, that was like, if Ed's too aggressive for you, then just stay home. Then don't.
Yeah,
if somebody
seriously.
somebody who said he was in the punk scene, really? If vegan
Okay.
Jesus is too aggressive. Postmortem, I think your camera. We got the colorful bars again. Hello?
Are we back?
Uh-oh.
Are we back?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. There.
Okay, cool. I was gonna say everyone start panic.
People love my color bars. Right.
Color bar. It's like classic.
Pause.
That's like the classic like technical issue thing. I love it.
Yeah.
seem dogmatic and hostile. This type of shit truly feels like vegans don't actually want you to go vegan. They just want to flog you with insults and shame you.
You basing it on one fucking thing that you
Dude,
strawmanned.
what insult did he? He didn't insult him. He didn't yell at him. He wasn't aggressive at all. At all. What are we talking? I'm sorry. How do you think people have conversations? You want to just sit there and just be like, well, okay. Like, what do you?
Yeah, you can go hook fish in a fucking face for like an
Right.
unnecessary food. Sure. Yeah.
Like, look, I don't know if you've seen that video, but that video where the woman is like, you eat meat because your dick is small or whatever. I don't know if you've seen that video, but like, okay, those are insults, right? Okay, that's an insult. Now, I don't necessarily think she may be right, but the point is those are insults. What Ed did, Ed was just pointing out where his logic extends, very clear, very calm, and that's too aggressive for you? Yeah, people who say vegans are too aggressive, the truth is any amount of activism is too much activism for people like this.
Troll of truth, can you not use autism as like, can you not like fucking be a YouTube psychologist saying about people that are autistic or whatever, and then use it to dismiss arguments? Can you not do that? Autistic people are capable of arguments and are often smarter than most of the population. So either dispel the, attack the arguments. Don't like assume shit about people.
As if being autistic means that what I'm saying has no weight or anything. Yeah, that's such a. But he comments on every single video. He goes, autism? Question mark.
Like that guy. All right.
Yeah, every single video.
All right.
For being more stupider. And there were at least a few comments that felt a similar way from vegans who were disappointed in this debate, so I'm not completely off base here.
I mean, the debate was absolute fucking trash. Ed lost his shit. What does it look like that Ed lost his shit? He got a little spicy.
Literally, like, raised his voice and spoke a little more firmly, like, barely.
Yeah, it's like it's fucking like victimizing that stupid person. That he's not the victim. That guy, he creates victims.
One of his critiques of vegan celebrities, he calls out Hannah Einbinder for her choice to quit being a vegan.
She should be called out.
Which does nothing to help it not sound like a cult. If you're unfamiliar with Einbinder,
what does the cult has anything to do with Harland? Why are you throwing that word around?
Harlan, if somebody was a clear anti-racist and then they came out as a racist, would me condemning that make anti-racism seem like a cult? I'm confused. Like, we're talking about morals here. We're not a religion, right? We're talking about somebody was morally against exploiting animals and now they're fine with it, apparently. That's fucked up, and we should call that out. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Bender, she is a comedian and actor who, by all accounts, is about as left-wing as you can get in Hollywood.
Well, what does that matter? There are right-wing vegans. It's nothing to do with it. Yes,
again,
like most vegans lean like closer to the left, but that has nothing to do with it. Like, it's a separate
and also he's
issue.
acting as if like if you are left-wing, you are moral. Like he's pretty much saying like, well, she's so left wing, it doesn't matter that she's not vegan.
Yeah.
That doesn't make sense. That doesn't make any sense.
Without being blacklisted. She regularly spreads progressive ideals in her stand-up routine and in the HBO show Hacks she stars in. The fact that he feels the need to not only corner some random stranger on the street who is outmatched against him, but also unfairly criticize those who share similar values is extreme.
She doesn't share the value that Ed cares about. She used to share that value, and she doesn't anymore. She used to not pay for exploitation and slaughter of animals, and now she's back to paying for exploitation and slaughter of animals for a stupid fucking reason. For this capitalism reason.
Well, the fact that it's somebody who spreads progressive ideals already makes it even worse, in my opinion. Like, it's almost like, okay, you weren't a hypocrite, but now you are. You know, like, it almost makes it worse that it's somebody who is probably anti-racist, probably anti-homophobic, probably, anti-sexist. And now they were anti-speciesist or vegan, and now they're not.
Yeah.
We should try and knock some sense into that person.
Yeah, that's a fucking red flag.
Yeah.
Extremely problematic in that it only sows division among like-minded individuals and
Ed doesn't give a shit about this. You don't know if Ed is right-wing or left-wing. All you know about Ed is that he's a vegan activist.
Also, if somebody aligns with my values but exploits animals or kills animals or whatever, I'm against that. Like, what am I supposed to be like? Oh, well, we agree on 5 out of the 8 things that I care about, so I'm just not going to talk about the other 3. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, let it slide. She only eats corpses of tortured animals again.
In that case, liberals shouldn't debate amongst liberals because they align with most things. Why have any debates?
Yeah.
Who cares?
Yeah.
leftist groups. What's the saying? Don't let perfection be the enemy of good.
No, because the cause, the fucking the goal of veganism is not creating a leftist fucking world. It's creating a vegan world.
Also, Ed didn't, from my knowledge, he didn't criticize her at all, other than the fact that she's not vegan, right? If Ed were to say, this person sucks in every other aspect of their life and you should disregard everything else they say, I would agree with you, Harlan. But that's not what he's saying. He's saying, hey, this person who seemingly cared about the animals is doing something really shitty and no longer does.
Yeah.
What the fuck? And that's a reasonable position.
And it's fucking ruined the show for me. She's in the show that I used to like. I can't watch it anymore. I'm sorry. It's just...
Infighting like this only benefits the people who
It's
already...
not infighting because she's not vegan anymore. She's not in the in group anymore. He's criticizing her for leaving the group, and the consequences of her leaving that group is that she's now paying for the exploitation, killing, and murder of animals. Killing, exploitation, and killing of animals. You know what I mean. There you go. Sorry.
already disagree with you. So again, I ask, what is this 17-minute long video condemnation really doing? The fact that
It's not talking about her leftism. That's what it is. Stop fucking strawmanning. How about that?
And also, I think it's important when somebody has a large following, right? We're talking about celebrities, actresses, famous people. Their choices, their actions will influence others. So it's important that you call out the hypocrisy, you call out their actions, so that way, hopefully, it can offset some of that influence, right? That's the whole point of criticism to begin with, right? That's why there's criticism allowed, because then in that case, if there's no criticism, anybody can do anything. And the people who are gullible enough to follow them will just follow them without having anyone like help them.
Harlan would understand that point if she was sitting there at that late night show, right? And she was saying, listen, I used to not kick dogs, but now I'm back to kicking dogs because, I don't know, I think we should talk about the animal breeding and not about me kicking the dog, right?
Hold on, I got it. I got the perfect thing. Harlan, why are you criticizing Earthling Ed, who aligns with almost all of your other values? Why are you criticizing Earthling Ed just because he does something with veganism that you don't like? Harlan, why are you criticizing vegans at all? If most vegans are left-leaning and you're left-leaning based on what I'm assuming here, why are you criticizing?
You're hurting the cause, Harlan.
Right. Why are you creating division amongst other people who are like-minded to you?
Yeah.
Right. He's honestly, he's doing the very thing that he's saying he's against because he's just gibberating.
And it's
Harlan,
a
you're full of shit,
30-minute video, guy. So you're doing worse than Ed.
she has a platform and uses it to promote causes such as environmentalism, veganism, LGBTQ+ rights, and addresses corporate responsibility is actually...
And then she goes back to exploiting and murdering animals.
That's so much worse. I hate that.
doing the thing a lot of us ask of our celebrities, and yet it's still not enough.
Yeah, because she used to not exploit and murder animals, and now she's gone back to exploiting and murdering animals. And she says that we shouldn't, blame her for it. We should blame the corporations.
Also, that's a very low bar to set.
Yeah.
He's like, she's anti-homophobic, anti-sexist, anti-racist. She's doing amazing. It's like, okay, are those the bars we want to set? Like, that's the bar. Like, as long as as a celebrity, you're those things, then you're good. You don't have to worry about anything.
Yeah.
Like, for one, those should be givens. And anyone who isn't those things, I don't want to associate with.
Yeah,
And
Harlan,
then the vegan thing,
if she's protecting the LGBTQ rights, right? And all of a sudden she goes on a late night show and says, I decided that gay people should burn in hell, and I'm no longer supporting Prop 8 or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to make a video about that, Harlan? Are you going to criticize her about that decision or not?
I was going to say Harlan would be the first person to have a problem with that, probably, right? So I don't see how you can't understand why vegans would do the same thing when she goes back to exploiting animals.
Yeah.
He has a perceived contradiction, saying her arguments weaken veganism by suggesting that individual efforts are not as impactful compared to corporate responsibility.
I just think that
True.
the pressure needs to be put on corporations who do a lot of the damage to our environment, and less so like on the individual.
And yes, yeah, damage to the environment is one thing, but personal responsibility to not exploit and kill other animals is another thing.
Like
right?
even she's strawmanning the fucking
Even
veganism.
she's strawman. Even she is putting veganism as if it's an environmental choice and not a moral position for the animals.
And I bet Ed is about to say just that.
He basically says that there's no real point to her being vegan because we need corporations to change. They're the ones doing all the damage, so why should she change? Because she's just one person, so she's not going to make a difference. But then she also says, you know, it's super important for people to be vegan. Why? Why is it super important?
She does say that in the
It
video.
either is super important for us to be vegan, or us being vegan makes no difference, and it should be on corporations to change because they're the ones causing all the problems.
This isn't an easy.
That's a great question. Because in the video, she says, I think it's super important for people to be vegan, but I can't, or she says something like, I'm not vegan anymore or something. So that is kind of contradictory. Either it is important that people should be vegan and personal choice does matter, or it isn't. You can't have both. Otherwise, you have a contradiction.
Yeah, and Harland shows that contradiction. He's going to say that it's a contradiction, right?
Either or scenario, Ed. Her point isn't that individual action is pointless, but that systemic change through corporate responsibility will yield greater impact.
So if she doesn't
Sure,
think that
obviously.
it's pointless to be her for her to be vegan, why isn't she vegan anymore?
Right. And also, I mean, that's obvious, right? If Purdue shut down all their factories, that's going to make a huge impact on the individuals that are in their factories, right? Obviously, that's going to make a huge impact on animal exploitation. But when it comes to animal exploitation, it really is rooted in personal values. Like, it's not one of those things where, like, I don't think anybody has personal values that, hey, we should drain all the oil from the planet, right? That's a corporation decision, right? Hey, we should tear down all the trees, right? That's a corporation decision based on like, and again, those are like caring. That's like falls in line with caring about the environment. Yeah. But when it comes to animal exploitation, I have met very few people in my life that weren't vegan. No, I've met nobody in my life that wasn't vegan, but also didn't view animals as resources or as like slaves for them to use. I've never met anybody like that, right? So
because those are contradictory positions.
Right. And that's the point, right? He's almost acting as if you can be against those things, but until corporate but it's up to corporations to shut it down. That doesn't happen, right? The corporations aren't shutting it down because people aren't against those things. They will happily support the exploitation and killing of animals. Yeah. So that's the root. Like, veganism or animal rights really has to come from the individual, just like racism, just like sexism, just like homophobia, or being anti those things. That has to come from the individual, right? Yeah. The civil rights movement didn't happen because corporations said, okay, we'll be fair to black people now, right? It happened because individuals said, hey, these are people too.
Yeah. Yeah. I have to, Harland, if you are listening, I have to give you a technical note. You got to bring yourself a little higher or bring your camera a little down and actually like changing your camera, how it focuses. So it needs to be a point focus. So it actually focuses on your face and not on the box of, I don't know what that is, power something behind you. So, I don't know. It's just a little thing.
According to Gallup, the US is only 4% vegetarian and 1% vegan. So, how many of that 1% actually do more than get in comment fights on some dummy's YouTube video, I wonder? She emphasizes that while
people are doing activism all the fucking time, vegans are the most active people of any other social justice group.
And also, maybe they would do more if people like you, Harlan, didn't say anything other than shutting your mouth and sitting straight is too much activism, is too aggressive, right? If Earthling Ed's too aggressive for you, then yeah, it's a wonder why people don't do more activism.
Yeah, if Earthling Ned is too aggressive for you, you don't want to meet Tash Peterson.
You don't want to meet me.
Yeah,
Are you kidding me? Like, I'm not even aggressive. Sometimes I get heated on the street, but yeah, no, this is crazy.
Actions in going vegan are still good and positive, pressuring large-scale...
Then why aren't you vegan, Harlan?
That's exactly the question. If it's good and positive, why aren't you vegan? Well, I can't be perfect. Okay, are you even good though? Like, it's not talking about perfection. We're talking about bare minimum, right? I think giving black people equal rights is good and positive. Okay, why don't you give black people equal rights? Well, I've got so many other things to worry about. I can't be perfect. Like, what are we talking? What bar is this?
Don't know.
Industries and corporations is also a component in making broader change. It's not the full-on contradiction he suggests, and there is nuance that he and every single one of the over 1,500 comments under that video...
It is a literal fucking contradiction. She says that it's important for people to be vegan, and then she says it's not important for her to be vegan because corporations, though. That's a literal fucking contradiction, and that's like just like escaping. What's the word I'm using for?
Accountability.
Accountability. Thank you. Thank you very much.
And the thing is, if it's not a contradiction, right? If she's saying it's important for people to be vegan, including herself, and she's not vegan, then she's just shitty. She's just a hypocrite, right? So it's either a contradiction or she's a hypocrite. And last time I checked, we don't want to derive our values from hypocrites, right? We don't want to follow the logic from of hypocrites. So I don't understand. Like, those are the two options.
Yeah.
Ignore. The comment section under that video sucks ass compared to the previous video, by the way.
Only because you're fucking meat eater does it suck ass.
Yeah, and your comments on all of this are spot on, Harlan. Thank you so much.
The fact that there doesn't seem to be a single dissenting voice means either the YouTube algorithm is really good at giving people what they want, which we all know it's not, or that Ed just hit every comment that disagreed. One thing
it's even clear to the fucking meat eaters, I think, how shitty her logic was. And how good Ed's logic was in that video. He was spot on, and he didn't even, in that instance, I don't even know if he said even that veganism is not about the fucking environment. He probably did. It's fucking Ed. But I think his logic was absolutely on point in that video.
Yeah.
I think even meat eaters fucking recognize how shitty that person was. The one on Late Night Show. Yeah.
I don't see being discussed enough in these conversations is how hard it is to break away from the social conditioning that doesn't prioritize vegan ideals or how intertwined food is with culture and religious practices.
We talk about it all the fucking time.
And the thing is, and that's fine, but that's not a justification at the end of the day, right? It was hard to not be racist when most people were racist. That doesn't justify racism. And to your point, Vegan Postmortem, we do address, like, we give people the tools. There's Challenge 22. We give people tools. There's a whole community here to support new vegans. Like, we give people tools.
We all went through it. Do you think it was easy for me while working in a meat restaurant to go vegan? Do you think that was easy? Do you think it was easy to continue working there because I couldn't afford to not to? Do you think it was easy to go to my family dinners where they abused me and called me names and told me that I'm gonna die? Do you think it was easy? That only like a year ago, my sister called me a fucking social case because I'm vegan. Do you think that's easy? No, it's not easy, but it's the right thing to do. We all know it. Almost all cultures exploit animals. I can't even think of one fucking culture that doesn't exploit animals, that it's not part of the culture to exploit animals. All religions, it's normal for them to exploit animals. This is not a unique experience. All of us went through this. That's why we talk about it all the fucking time.
100%. 100%. And so I got a good comment here from Johnny Vegan Seed. He said, waiting on a moral argument with a stopwatch. Yeah, this entire time, he's talked about practical issues. He's talked about environment. He has yet to actually exposed an issue in any vegan's logic. And also, he has yet to provide a compelling argument against the moral position of veganism, which is being against the exploitation of animals. He's yet to provide anything that goes against that, including his own values. Again, he's going at it from like a fly on the wall to avoid accountability.
Yeah. Not only fly on the wall. What about and straw manning?
Right.
Like straight up.
Shaming and guilting an entire group to change their ways that are deeply cultural sounds a lot like colonialism to me from childhood.
Oh my God, here it comes. Yep, colonialism. Yes, of course. So let me ask you, if there was a culture, so if you stumbled upon a indigenous tribe that has never been occupied and they were sexually abusing children or they were cannibals, do you think it's colonialism to try and get them to stop doing that? Like, we're not talking about culture. We're not talking about assimilation. We're not talking about when Native Americans had to wear white people clothes and had to go to school like white people. We're talking about practices that exploit and harm other individuals, right? As soon as you infringe on the rights of innocent individuals, you have the right to have your rights infringed on. That's how that works, you know? So that's so silly for you to say, like, oh, like he's almost playing like you're a racist card. Like he's playing like the race card, which doesn't work in this example.
I wonder if he was talking about FGM that happens in several countries, if he would have a problem with FGM.
The thing is, his stance, he would probably avoid accountability. He'd probably say, well, he'd say, people have their cultures and this and that. And I go, okay, what do you think? He'd go, well, people have their cultures. Like he would avoid actually giving his own opinion because he knows he would end up in a contradiction. Hold on. We got to pause for 2 seconds. I got to use the bathroom.
All right. Oh shit. I'm going to try address the very troll of truth focused comment section. Or maybe I'm just going to ignore you altogether. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. White veganism though, yeah. Let's see. Less than 1%. Yeah. Troll of truth. We're still gonna fucking win. Wait and see. We are a very committed bunch. We're gonna win. It's all just talking VPM showing the guns. The guns have gone down, unfortunately. I mean, that's puny because I haven't picked anything heavy for like 2 months because of this finger, this stupid fucking finger. But the second I'm taking that off, I'm going back to hardcore, I don't know, doing something with my body. And then I'm gonna have amazing guns. BPM got the angles, yep. Thank you. Alpha Karos is here. I would go to a vegan family dinner. Yeah, because you have no moral qualms with eating vegan food. So I don't see why that would be a problem for you, my dude. What else is in here? It's all you all are talking to with Troll of Truth. I guess Troll of Truth wins because you all allowed him or them to troll you.
Yeah, the best thing to do with Troll Truth when he says autism ? Is just ignore him. And then what I like about Troll Truth is he doesn't say anything else. So if you ignore him, he just won't comment anymore.
Yeah. All right.
We're conditioned to see certain foods as standard, for good or bad, often without thinking about the moral or ethical impact. And
you got it. That's the problem. Now fucking break it. There are victims involved. You got it. That's the problem. We know it. We know this problem. That's what we are trying to fight. Everybody's telling us it's normal, natural, nice to eat meat. That's the first thing that people say. Well, I was born into a family. That's how I ate. That's what my culture tells me to do. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah. That's literally you trying to calm your this down. That's the problem.
Right. He's saying, so it's almost like he's saying it's hard to break the social norms. So therefore, it's excusable when you don't.
Yeah.
Nope. That's That doesn't follow.
Yeah. I mean, any leftist that lived through the Me Too movement in the past 10 years and sees the difference from 10 years ago to now, right? Or whenever, what was it, 2016, I think. From 2016 to now, 8 years, right? Anybody who doesn't see the difference that was made in 8 fucking years in our cultural standards, is fucking blind. And if you can't apply that to your own fucking morals, what are you doing? Why are you like? Why would you call yourself a progressive if you are not willing to progress?
Right. What kind of punk is this? What kind of like progressive punk? He's like, it's hard to go against the grain. It's like, okay, I'm sorry, are you punk? Bro, I thought you grew up in the punk. Are you punk rock? Or no? You're not punk.
I don't know,
Okay.
maybe poser.
Yeah,
Honestly,
I'm smelling
to
a
put
poser.
that on a child,
Okay.
often without thinking about the moral or ethical impact. And honestly, to put that on a child is a little unfair, especially if you're
Nobody's putting it on fucking children. Everybody's putting it on fucking adults.
Who even mentioned children?
Nobody.
Did anybody-
That's the biggest fucking strawman. Nobody mentioned fucking children.
That's such a weird thing to say. Nobody even mentioned children. I mean, I went vegan. I was talking about veganism when I was technically a child, 17, but then I went vegan at 18, so I'm an adult. But like young people make these. What about Greta Thunberg? I bet you love her environmental activism. Should she not have done that because she was a kid? Like, what are we talking about? Why can't kids? Nobody's whatever. Hit play. I
But
can't.
like the point is, nobody's putting that on fucking children. If children, vegans sometimes talk to children about veganism because kids are like more switched on about animal rights. They understand it more clearly. They haven't
Dude.
had as many years of indoctrination into it. They still remember how it is to play with an animal and like them and feel how they like nice caressing and the animal reacts in a very nice way. They remember that shit. They're not cynical pieces of shit who are sitting in their garage talking about strawmanning the vegan movement.
Right. And the thing is, when I talk to kids, if they're like younger, like middle school or something,
Yeah.
I'll say like, look, I understand that you don't necessarily have the say of what is bought in the home right now,
Yeah.
but it's important to think about these things because one day you will have to make these decisions. Like when you're an adult, you will have to make your own decisions on what to buy and what to do, how to live your life. So start thinking about it now. And I also say, like, if you can, bring it home. Talk to your parents about it. Like my parents, they're not vegan, but when I said I'm going vegan, they let me pick out my own food. They let me pick out my, make my own decisions on what to eat. So,
Amazing.
how are your parents that cruel that if you tell them what you want to eat, they won't get it for you?
Yeah, I met
I mean,
those
like
parents. I met those parents. There's like an old, I don't know, I guess I can't call her friend anymore, the way she acted with her kid. Her kid went vegan at the age of 15 or something like that. She basically left her fending for herself.
Yeah, I don't understand that. That's parents who, this is like, I don't want to go on tangent, but I will just say parents who only love their kid as an extension of themselves
Yeah.
and not as an individual. That is a huge that's one thing that I have always seen and hated about parenting is not being able to see them as an individual and only as a mini you, and only loving them if they are a mini you, that's a huge issue. But anyway.
Yeah. But literally nobody mentioned kids in this fucking conversation. This is the first time we're hearing about it. And literally no vegan puts that on kids. Every fucking activist that talks to kids, they talk about food agency as well. Right? Correct, Brandon? There you go.
Yeah, 100%.
out of your mind and think feeding your children a vegan diet is morally justified.
It is. What's the problem with feeding your children?
Oh my God. Hold on. Citation? Hold on. Citation. Associate. Hold on. This isn't even oh my God. Hold on. So he put this in as like a movie ticket or something. Hold on. Citation. Associated Press, which is a news article. Vegan mother jailed for life after 18 months old son starved to death on diet of raw fruits and vegetables. even in the headline, that's wrong, right? Even in the headline, no vegan is advocating for you to feed a baby raw fruits and vegetables. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. That's number one. Number two, Harlan, do you think that this is an appropriate citation? Do you think this is like a proper way to cite things? Make up your own little movie ticket for the citation and cite it from a news article? Is that a peer-reviewed study on the nutritional adequacy of plant-based diets? This is embarrassing. You're like embarrassing yourself, dude.
That's what he's been doing. He's been picking random comments, random jokes that don't even fit because they started with omnis shitting on vegans, right? It's just a bunch of like 3 or 4 examples of things, and he bases that's what he uses to paint the entire vegan community on. Can you do the dietetics things, please, Brendan?
What do you mean?
About how a vegan diet is appropriate for all stages of life, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, vegan diets are based on the Academy of Nutrition Dietetics. They released a statement where vegan diets are adequate for all stages of life from pregnancy into adulthood. So that's no problem. And there's plenty of peer-reviewed studies showing that vegans have better health outcomes long-term. Also, one thing I've learned is people who say they're progressive and who think they're like intelligent because they recognize that Black people are individuals, like people who think they're like this guy, he seems like he likes the smell of his own farts a little too much.
Yeah.
Because what I've learned is people like this, when they talk to a vegan or somebody who has any like knowledge of logic, debate, reasoning, research, they get spanked. They get like, it is a wake-up call upon wake-up call between how uninformed and how silly they actually sound. This guy, if he goes up against Earthing Ed, talks to Dr. Avi, talks to even me, getting spanked. Harlan, please come debate. I would love to have a conversation with you because you're getting spanked, buddy. This is like embarrassing. And that's the thing is like, when I first started thinking about morality and my impact on others, I got spanked. Like you get spanked, you're like, wait a second, holy shit. I'm actually not unbiased. I'm actually doing things that I'm against, right? You got to get spanked to spank others. Go ahead.
Yeah. Whenever somebody has a terrible medical take online, using an anecdote as a rule and not as an exception, I take a vitamin. That's what I did.
Okay, perfect.
Hard enough for those who are aware of the moral implications of their choices. Activists who focus solely on individual responsibility overlook the difficulty people face when trying to break away from these norms.
That's individual responsibility still. This is not as a juxtaposition to individual responsibility.
Right. And nobody's saying, nobody
How
overlooking
the
it. We're
fuck
just saying you have to do it.
Sorry, Brendan, how the fuck does a culture change if not through the people in that culture?
Right. And you just have to do it. Like nobody's overlooking it. Yeah, it's tough. Yeah, it's uncomfortable, but you have to if you want to be the person that your values align with, you've got to do it. That's it. Like what's the alternative? Live as a hypocrite because you don't want to be uncomfortable?
Yeah.
It's not just about making
I forgot about the thing that he called us a cult. Based on what, Harlan? Are you just gonna throw a word out like that without any evidence? Even fucking anecdotal evidence would suffice. There are vegan cults. Doesn't mean that veganism is a cult. I have a series on my channel called where we're going through the BITE model for both veganism and meat eating. Neither is a cult according to that series, but meat eating scored much higher on the BITE model. So, just saying.
This is a couple comments. Aluwali Blue Vegan says, "Is spanking carnista vegan?" and then Leon.
I think
says,
he meant carnists.
I actually like that it says carnista. I think it adds like some humor. I don't know why.
That's flair,
and then Leon said spanking can be consensual, but do you really want to touch a carnice with your bare hands?
Well, you could use like a back of a spatula or something.
Yeah, well, Aluwali Blue Vegan says, yeah, probably better to use a paddle. That's
Yeah.
funny.
Different choice. It's about unlearning behaviors and values that have been taught as normal and acceptable. Failing to acknowledge the role of social conditioning makes it seem as if people are simply choosing to
Nobody
Nope.
fucking failing to acknowledge it. We acknowledge it all the fucking time. In fact, I'm saying that's the problem. That's the main problem that we can't. That's the hurdle, the hugest fucking hurdle that we can't seem to jump over.
Yeah. No, I don't like people who are uninformed or people who think like who have wrong ideas about what happens to animals. It's not their fault. That's what they were taught. That's what was advertised. That's what they were conditioned to believe. But then when somebody is educated and somebody is given resources and they choose, at that point it's a choice, right? Ignorance is ignorance. And then once you're educated, you're no longer ignorant. Now it's a choice. And then when you choose to ignore it, or when you choose to continue doing the wrong thing, that's where the judgment comes in.
Yeah. Like, again, like any other thing that we changed in the past 100 years that we used to think is culture, like it used to be culturally acceptable and like absolutely normal and nice and all and things like that. We've changed that shit. So now that you've recognized that this is the problem, Harland, it's time to get to work. It's time to start changing your mind. You do that through education. There is plenty of education online. We vegans, we are pretty prolific.
Yeah. So Harlan, do you want to be an actual punk? A punk who stands up for what's right, who goes against the grain, who actually aligns your actions with your beliefs? Or do you just want to wear a leather jacket in your garage and be a poser? That's my question to you.
Yeah.
perpetuate harm, equating it to Geneva.
I don't think it's a leather jacket. It looks like a
I don't know.
leather
It looks
Yeah.
like a leather jacket. That's
well,
all I
it
say.
sounded good.
Convention levels of torture. The average person is often struggling against powerful systems and the status quo, not to mention that food is more than just sustenance. It can be an integral part of cultural identity tied to a group's history.
Yep, that's the problem.
It's counterproductive and dismissive that can come across as cultural imperialism.
Nobody's counterproductive and dismissive. We keep talking about it.
Oh my god, he's gonna say it comes across as culturally
When you don't acknowledge the broader
Cultural
socio-cultural and that can come across as cultural imperialism when you don't acknowledge the broader socio-cultural.
Do you see what I'm talking about with the buzzwords? Like,
Yeah.
it's not that he's wrong. It's just he's using a bunch of these like popular leftist topics to avoid the root of the issue, to avoid the actual argument, right?
Yeah.
He's like, well, actually, when you impose your views on someone else, it's cultural imperialism, and you're ignoring the socioeconomic factors that determine environmental society. Like, he's just saying all this stuff, but it actually is just a bunch of bullshit. You're just gibberating. Nobody is ignoring these things. Nobody is acknowledging that this doesn't happen. Nobody is saying that everyone who isn't vegan are just animal torturing psychopaths, and that's all they want to do. But again, that's not all of those things, socioeconomic factors, social influence, culture, tradition, they're not justifications for the action to continue.
Yes, Troll of Truth. Descendants of slaves eat animals because they have the same problem that the rest of the world does. They see some injustices, but they don't see other injustices.
Yeah, most people do that. Same thing with
Cultural and
LGBTQ plus. Same thing with women. Same thing with a lot of groups that have been oppressed. Have a hard time seeing other groups that are oppressed as well. Yeah,
But they are more likely to. LGBTQ are more likely to be vegan.
is that true?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't
at
know
least
that.
where I am, like LGBTQ is like, I don't know, I can't give percentage, but like a huge amount of LGBTQ people are vegan.
I mean, that makes sense though, right? Like if you think about it, that
Vegan,
makes sense.
women are more likely to be vegan than men.
Well, I heard that, yeah, actually women I think it's like 70% of the vegan movement is made up of women or something. Unfortunately, not unfortunately, but I'm saying like I wish more men were vegan. But yeah, and I think I read, don't quote me, but I think I read that Black people were the biggest, or like the group of people that are going vegan the fastest.
The
or at
fastest
highest
growing.
numbers.
Yeah.
Which is really, I mean, it makes sense, right?
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah.
Economic context that shape people's choices.
Harlan, do you see how we don't ignore it and we actually talk about it like all the fucking time?
We have these nuanced conversations like on a daily basis.
Yeah.
I don't understand what he's talking about.
We don't have empirics on it. That's kind of a problem because people who take statistics don't give a shit about veganism. But we do have like some kind of a idea about those things. And we talk about it. It's more likely, like I used to be a feminist activist, right? I used to be in a group of feminists. About half of us were vegan. In that,
wow, that's cool.
And at some point, it wasn't a tiny group. It was about 12 people. About 6 of us were vegan. And we had vegan conversations due to being feminist. In a large feminist local group, veganism was talked about all the fucking time. Some people see it, some people don't. Some people go vegan because of those discussions. Right? So, I don't know.
Acknowledge the broader socio-cultural and economic context that shape people's choices. It ends up framing veganism as something only the privileged or culturally detached can achieve and risks becoming a divisive rather than unifying movement.
It's because of you guys, not because of us. We talk about this shit all the fucking time.
Also, I don't understand. He said the privilege. Since when is like going against the grain or like going against cultural norms mean you're privileged? I don't know how that's connected. Culturally detached or societally detached, sure, yeah, okay. If our society as a whole supports animal exploitation, then color me culturally detached or societally detached. Please say I'm detached. I want to be detached from all of that.
Yeah.
Right? If most of our culture supports organized religion, supports animal exploitation, supports sexism, homophobia, racism, I want to be detached from that. I want to be outside of that. Yeah. Who wouldn't? Why would you want to go on supporting these things just to not be labeled as socially detached or whatever he said?
Yeah. Most vegans I know are fucking dirt poor. Vegans, people are most like, I've actually read the statistic, people are more likely to go vegan when they're in their 20s, which is definitionally one of the poorest stages of an adult. Like, I don't know.
This is also not to say that culture and tradition can't or shouldn't evolve.
Yes, it should. You recognize this, Harlan, now. Why aren't you vegan? Why aren't you working towards veganism? Why are you making a video shitting on vegans? Through like 5 anecdotes.
Just takes a lot longer to do so. A lot of Ed's content seems to focus on everyone who's not vegan when there are many cultures and religions that implement a vegan diet he could be promoting.
No, they're not. No, they're not. What cultures are vegan?
So the other thing is, what we want to avoid as vegan activists is like muddying the waters when it comes to what's happening to the victims, right? Yeah. If we just start saying, hey, look at this awesome diet, look at this awesome culture, we're missing the point, right? We don't want, because then again, you're not exposing the moral issue with what we do to animals. You're just trying to promote a lifestyle that looks good. Yeah. You're essentially trying to promote people going to the gym, right? Yeah. It's like the equivalent to that.
Yeah. So he just basically, he basically wants vegans to shut the fuck up. That's it.
Right. He's like, no. Don't make me feel bad for what I do to animals. Just show me something that looks good. It's like, okay, Harlan, are you like, Harlan, I hate to do, because I am liberal. I am on the left, but I hate to say this, but you kind of come off as a little bit of a snowflake, my friend. You seem kind of snowflakey, like you're crying about it. Like, dude, this is serious stuff. And if you can't handle it, I'm sorry, stay home. Like, you know, you can't handle any amount of criticism or any amount of personal accountability, then why do you even have this channel? Why are you even talking online? And also to answer your question, Vegas Postmortem, Rastafarians. So Rastafarians, I think a lot of them are vegan or promote like more of a vegan message. I don't know. I don't think it's entirely vegan, but
Yeah.
they're definitely more of that. There's that's like, I know there's a lot of like Indian cultures, or a lot of Indians are vegan, but there's no like,
and yet
It
India
depends.
is like one of the major, most biggest exports of theirs is beef and leather. Like,
for sure. I think there's like sections though. So like, to answer your question, I don't think there are any cultures that are actually completely vegan or recognize animals shouldn't be oppressed, other than vegans. But I know like a lot of every kind of vegan festival I go to, there's always like 6 or 7 like Rastafarian places or Rasta places. So that's pretty cool. So that
alright.
I think is like the only one from my knowledge.
Okay, awesome.
Instead, he's complaining about celebrities and having sidewalk debates with people who'd rather be ripping fat clouds. The last thing I want to talk about is the argument I see.
I mean, listen, seriously now, Harlan, we need to have a talk. I would rather do anything else than vegan activism. I would rather do other shit, frankly. I would rather be like absolutely oblivious about all of this shit. Just, just eat awesome food, hang out with friends, I don't know, go to cool shows. I would rather be oblivious. Once you wake up, you can't afford that shit. So, the fact that that guy would rather not have that conversation at some point, that doesn't matter.
Well,
When
also
there
it's
is a victim,
voluntary.
yeah, also it's voluntary. But when there is a victim involved, it doesn't matter if you don't want to have that conversation. It should be had. It's like saying, oh, this is not the time to talk about guns, thoughts and prayers after a fucking school shooting. You're doing the same thing, Harland.
Well, also, he's also kind of, in a way, and this is very common, right? He didn't say this. I'm just going to use this example. He didn't say this though. But when people are like, "Oh, don't hold Native American, like Native Americans are different," right?
Yeah.
It's almost belittle. It's almost like saying, "Oh,
It's
they
infantilizing.
shouldn't be held up to the same standard, so the same moral standard." This guy who's vaping, you're almost belittling. You're almost saying like, "Oh, dude, he's stupid. He just wants to vape. He's stupid. Don't waste your time on him." And that's
Frankly, I'm kind of saying the same thing. That guy was single digit IQ. I don't remember who said that. That really applies on that guy.
Here's the thing. And that might be true, right? That guy might be stupid. That guy might just want to smoke vape all day and do nothing else. But everyone's deserving of a chance to be educated, right? We don't just pass on people just because, oh, they're too stupid. Like, you try your best to educate people he showed that guy came up to the table.
Yeah.
He probably waited in line. Who knows? Because I know Earthling Ed, they at the college campuses, there's usually lines. He probably waited in line. This guy wanted to have this conversation. So for you to say, oh, Earthling Ed is somehow doing a bad thing or doing something that's not effective by talking to someone who wanted to talk to him just because you judge him because he's vaping, is silly. That's a really silly thing. I don't know how you could do that. I don't know.
Yeah.
All the time that going vegan is more affordable or simpler. As someone who
It is more affordable. It's not simple. It's fucking hard.
lived many
I
years
know some people say, oh, it's simple. It's simple in the end. The fucking going vegan, the one day not being vegan and the other day being vegan, to get to that point and to cross that point, that's fucking hard.
Yeah, I would say that the commitment when we were factoring in social aspects, the commitment is hard.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Not for, like, I'll be honest, for me, I love going against the grain. Like, it's something that I like. I like to be a little confrontational, a little bit contrarian. So it just so happens that this it doesn't go against that.
Yeah.
So for me, it's not hard, but I understand a lot of people get uncomfortable with that. Like my wife, she really doesn't like confrontation. She really doesn't like going against the grain. So that is hard. But the diet aspect, so when we're talking about plant-based dieting, if you are trying to be healthy, it's the same level of complexity, whether you do it plant-based or whether you do it regular. If you are trying to eat well exercise, watch your health. Whether you do it plant-based or whether you do it on an omnivorous diet, it's the same amount of effort, right? You're just going to different aisles. You're just getting different food. Same amount of effort. You still got to track your food. So you got to take you still should be taking a multivitamin. You still got to make time to cook. You still got to go to the gym. So like when people say, oh, being vegan and healthy or being vegan is so hard, what they mean is they don't mean societally, right? Nobody even thinks that far. They just think from a diet.
Yeah.
And that's just not true.
Yeah, I am actually, I don't like going against the grain. I am a coward. I don't like confrontation, but it keeps happening. Like even as a teenager.
And that is punk, my friend.
Yeah. As a teenager, I was, I guess not as a teenager. As a teenager, I was incredibly scared of my sexuality and my identity and stuff like that. But like right after that, holy shit. People still remember me walking around in my very conservative town and how I gave them the courage to come out. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to do it. Like who else is going to do it other than you?
Somebody else.
You're like, please, if I could have had someone else do it, I would have picked them.
If somebody else should have shaved their head and walking around the town where I live. Jesus Christ. But I did it anyway.
Here's just above the poverty line, there are plenty of practical.
So mentally, there is a problem. Yes, people can't imagine living without the animal products that they can readily get. Mentally, that it's hard. Okay, but once you find out for yourself that it's just against your morals and there is no other choice, you have to change. And then you find a way, always. I was dirt poor, again. I was fucking dirt poor when I went vegan. I had to continue to be in a situation where I didn't want to be, working with animal products when I went vegan. But I made it work.
And this is what I say all the time is there's a certain baseline of moral concern you have to reach in order to make the switch. Because I talk to people all the time who acknowledge their hypocrisy and they say, I mean, I'm a hypocrite. Okay, whatever. If you don't care about being a better person, if you don't care about aligning your actions with your moral values, if you don't even care about thinking that deeply, you're not going to go vegan because there's no incentive. You're a shitty person, right? You're essentially fine with being a standard, surface level thinking, shitty hypocrisy person. Like that. If that's where you're at, I mean, that sucks. I wish I could instill the drive that I have to try and better myself, to try and learn more, to try and be more moral into them, but you can't.
Yeah.
So like, that's the thing is, there's like somebody has to care. And if you say you care and you're not vegan, then we got a problem.
And by the way, okay, I'm going to try to be excessively charitable again. Okay. I think he's talking about really poor people who work 2 jobs and they have kids at home. All they can do is open a can of something and throw it at them. Of those people seriously don't have the bandwidth to fucking go vegan. I think that's true. I think they are in a situation where somebody doesn't even have the time to consider veganism, right? Or to consider any moral implications. And to that I say, then Harland, it's your responsibility to go vegan and to make as many people who can go vegan as well, to change the culture for those people who can't right now, to change the food environments for those people who can't think about it right now. It's your responsibility as somebody who has the privilege, who has the same privilege as I do. And I'm sure about that because you're sitting around and for 30 minutes talking about this shit.
And well, even if it's not we don't have to call it, even if it's not a responsibility, you should want to. Like, for example, we're talking about, let's say, single mom, 3 kids or something, right? Yeah. Now, there's a lot of issues as to how there ended up a single mom with 3 kids. There's a lot of socioeconomics, a lot of dynamic issues. There's a lot of other issues. But the point is, it's single mom with 3 kids, right? They're probably feeding their kids SpaghettiOs, mac and cheese, whatever, right?
Yeah.
The only reason why, because they have to eat something, they have to buy something, right? Luckily, most of the cheapest products for clothing are vegan, right? Like the leathers and all that, that's usually more expensive. They don't have money for entertainment. They're not going to take their kid to the zoo, right? And if they do, that's a different story, but most of them don't. So we're just talking about food. And in that case, all it would take is either a little more, like, hey, instead of buying the SpaghettiOs with the beef and the milk and the eggs, why don't you buy the lentil soup? Or why don't you buy the vegan pasta soup? Or why don't you buy the vegan mac and cheese, right? And how we get that education and accessibility is by people who are able to go vegan, who are able to educate themselves, who do have the space to think, by them going vegan and promoting those ideals. And then that will trickle down, because otherwise you're dooming these people to be in a loop, an endless loop of SpaghettiOs and Kraft mac and cheese forever, and exploiting animals.
Exactly.
So
It's always the people who have the privilege to have the most responsibility to change and the most capability to change. So
and also the goal should be to get these people out of poverty, right? The goal is always to empower people, to have government support, to get them out of poverty, right?
Yeah.
And what happens if you get these people out of poverty and then no one's vegan in the middle class, okay? So now you have all these people out of poverty that are part of the lower middle class or wherever they are, and none of them are vegan anyway. So they don't even have any vegan. Like, we need the more people that can go vegan, the better. Like, there's no excuse. Just go vegan and it'll help everyone go vegan in the future.
yeah, and speaking of celebrities, right? There was a lot of work done in the feminist movement before the Me Too, but the Me Too was created by fucking actresses, right? Basically, right? People who have the biggest amount of reach decided to speak out. So that
Right. It
actress
took
that went on
people-
a fucking late night show and said, "Oh, I'm not vegan anymore." She has the biggest fucking responsibility. She did the most disservice. And that's why Ed is talking about her and not I don't even know. Harland, whom do you want us to talk to? How do we make people vegan? If you're telling us, well, these people can't be talked about, these people can't be talked about, and these people can't be
Right.
talked
Should we
about.
just show them plant-based recipes and hope that they cook that instead?
Yeah, shut the fuck up, vegans. Just make food or whatever.
But the last thing, that's a great point. It took celebrities, actresses, musicians to speak out about their assaults for people to give a shit about the impact and how much assault there is with women. Like, that's how it goes. That's how people need to speak up, and people of influence need to speak up, right? People who are in privileged positions. Otherwise, do you think, how do you think change happens? If nobody spoke up, then the poor people would definitely not speak up, because they're the ones probably getting the most abused, but also have the most, well, maybe the most to lose, but also the less space to be able to do anything about it.
Yeah. The script was co-written by AI, I think, because AI constantly strawmans the vegan position.
That's
reasons people continue to consume animal products. Most of the time, because of necessity. One of the most overlooked challenges when discussing the benefits of going vegan.
No, it's because of perceived necessity. It's not actual necessity.
Harland, let's get to the truth. Why are we not trying to get to the truth? When I write a script for a video, I'm trying to get to the truth, even if that truth is not good for my stance, right? And that happened several times in my YouTube career, right? That I wrote a fucking script that didn't support my hypothesis. Let's say it like that. And I was clear about it in the video. It's important to get to the truth more than it's to write a pretty script that most people will like.
100%.
Vegan is the existence of food deserts, areas where people don't have access to affordable, healthy options.
And food desert can be changed into vegan, because when privileged people decide to buy vegan food instead of animal-based food, vegan food becomes cheaper, more accessible, because, fucking capitalism. You live in it. You criticize it. You can use it for a better world. I don't know.
And again, the issue of food deserts is overall health in general. You could be vegan in a food desert. You could be not vegan in a food desert. You're going to be unhealthy either way, right? If you're a single mom with 3 kids who are feeding their kids chips and Lunchables and mac and cheese, you could easily switch that to vegan stuff with a little bit of education. You're not going to be healthier necessarily, maybe if the vegan option has more fiber or whatever. But the point is, Harlan is bringing up the concern of health and the ability to be healthy in a food desert, not the ability to be vegan. Taco Bell, $2 burritos. You can make it all vegan. Probably will be much better for you than the actual beef burritos you can get. So if you're eating fast food, eat the fast food vegan. Easy.
I gotta say, this is a useless citation, but it is pretty. I really like the design.
That's the thing. Like it looks like good. I actually didn't even know these were citations at first.
Same.
I thought, yeah, at the first one I was like, okay, is he just? I thought it was like a title.
Yeah, same.
What even is this? It says it doesn't even give any details. It says grist. Welcome to food deserts of rural America, Steve Larson. Great. How does that support what you're saying?
I guess if you Google that, maybe you get a book or something.
Well,
Or
yeah,
an
you'll
article.
probably get an article about food deserts, but
Yeah.
probably not related to veganism. Probably has no research about veganism. I don't know.
Well, the claim is, listen, again, I understand the claim. The claim is that there are food deserts, and in those food deserts, all there is junk food. You can't find an apple anywhere, right? Well, half of the junk food is going to be vegan anyways.
Yeah. Vegan postmortem. We are not running a charity here. Okay. We do not give out free things. I'm going to hold them to a high standard. All right, here, play.
I don't know what your point was.
Oh, because you're always trying to be charitable.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Listen, somebody get it.
Options. Vegan-friendly products are often scarce in these areas, making it difficult for people to adopt.
Not true. If somebody buys chips, there is a huge chance that those chips are vegan. And if those specific chips are not vegan, you just move your hand and those chips are going to be vegan.
And again, we're not promoting chip consumption. Obviously, that's not ideal. But if you're buying chips anyway, you can just buy them vegan.
Yeah. And they're not going to be more expensive, right?
Right. No,
I don't know
you
about
could buy-
America. I heard you put dairy in fucking chips.
Yeah, there is dairy in a lot of chips, but it depends on the flavor. So they're usually like, if you get a weird flavor, there's dairy in chips. But if you're getting regular chips, if you're getting like jalapeno chips, pickle chips, corn chips, Doritos, the purple ones, those don't have any dairy or eggs.
But
So,
listen,
yeah.
it's necessary to get the dairy chips for the last ingredient in the list is gonna be like I don't know, like milk solids or
Right.
some shit like
For the
that.
2% milk fat or something, yeah.
Yeah.
And maybe more importantly, maintain a plant-based diet even if they wanted to. Then there's the amount of time
If you eat like shit, you're gonna eat like shit on a vegan diet, and you know it's gonna be worse.
Like the people he's talking about, those are the people in hospitals. Like those are the people who have chronic diseases,
Yeah.
right? The people who have to be taken care of via the healthcare system are people who are in food deserts, who are eating nothing but fast food, usually doing some kind of, well, I don't want to say that, but people who are in food deserts, who are eating fast food, who have other socioeconomic factors on top of that are degrading their health, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
time it takes to prepare a vegan meal, or any food you have to cook at home. The single mother working 2 jobs in rural Nebraska probably isn't too concerned with finding ethically sourced produce, when she's more concerned with just making sure one of her 4 kids doesn't die than she is about what her carbon footprint is or how many chickens died to make her pot pie. She'd rather microwave a tray of bagel bites for her picky kids before she has to go pull a double at the local Waffle House.
Sure. And the thing is, that's fair enough. Like the thing is, like, yeah, that's a societal issue. That's a socioeconomic issue, but that has nothing to do with why veganism is a bad position. Veganism, this doesn't debunk veganism. It just exposes another layer of issues within our society. That's all.
Yeah. And we literally talk about this all the time as well.
Oh, yeah.
There are like literal huge accounts that talk about these things, these issues.
People who says just grow your own food, not everyone has this.
Nobody in the fucking vegan community says that. We know
No, the
how
only people who say
unrealistic
that
it
are-
is. We all
the only
live in
peop-
small fucking apartments.
The only people who say that are anti-vegans and carnivores. That's about it.
Yeah. So I think he searched what are the claims against veganism. He's never bothered to search what are the vegan arguments. Seems like it.
space to grow a fucking garden in their backyard. Most people
Exactly. Nobody has that. So no vegan says that. Seriously.
can barely keep a succulent alive, let alone a whole ass row garden of seasonal vegetables.
Frank.
And any pre-made or frozen vegan options are also expensive, typically because of production costs, niche markets, and marketing strategies. One major factor is that many vegan products are made on a smaller scale, which increases the cost of its maintenance.
And that's the problem. You should go vegan, so that changes.
And
Ireland.
also, to be honest, again, like, yes, is it more expensive than cooking? Absolutely. But pre-made meals aren't that expensive. I don't cook. I'm just gonna be honest, guys. I don't cook anything. The most thing I'll cook is a Beyond Burger. I don't cook. So I lived off of pre-made vegan meals for the last 3 to 4 years. I've lived off of nothing but vegan, just dinners. I mean, I make oatmeal, I'll make stuff like that, but
Yeah.
I'll eat fruit, but I mostly make pre-made meals because I don't like to cook. B, I'm bad at cooking, and C, it allows me to be very quick and always have food. Because if I rely on my own cooking, then I'll end up buying food out anyway. So, and they're not that expensive. Like, it's easily, again, I make way less than 6 figures. I'm not going to tell you how much, but I make, like, I'm not rich by any means. I'm not in poverty, but I'm not rich. And I can afford pre-made meals, no problem, right? Like it's fine, So
Yeah, we
Yeah, they're not that
definitely live in
expensive.
different countries. It's so much more expensive to buy a pre-made meal here. I don't even know if a pre-made vegan meal exists. Maybe like accidentally vegan, but it's
really, no,
fuck.
we have a ton of stuff. So like here, a pre-made frozen meal is like $4. So it's like $4 a meal, which isn't bad.
That's my takeout money. Oh, well, I guess yeah. All right.
Depending on what kind of meal. Now, some are more, especially if you buy, because I eat a lot. So especially if you get like multiple meals, then it gets a little pricey.
Yeah.
But
But again,
we're
that's not the
talking-
problem of the poor people. I'm sorry to
Right.
say, people who can afford pre-made meals can afford vegan pre-made meals, right?
Right. Well, I think he's saying that a lot of people can't afford vegan pre-made meals.
Then
but
they're
that's
not
really-
buying pre-made meals at all, are they?
Right. Because like we said, the non-vegan pre-made meals are also more expensive. Are also more expensive than cooking.
Yeah.
So either way, they're both more expensive than cooking.
Yeah. Can you address
So-
the chat for a second? I'm gonna go.
Oh yeah, go for it.
Yeah.
Hello, everybody. Thank you, everyone, for watching, for tuning in. There's a longer stream because I have actually nothing to do today. So that's why we're just hanging out. Normally, I cap out at like 2 hours, but I've got like wide open schedule. It's raining over here. Pig's Dream says, choosing to consume animals even rarely continues to contribute to their suffering and exploitation, undermining the moral obligation to abstain from causing unnecessary harm. I agree. That is spot on. Oh, we got another troll or another anti-vegan. Brendan 456. Hello. Johnny Vegan said most people don't reduce, reuse, and recycle because they are selfish. Yeah, I agree. Again, I think a lot of our inadequacies are framed as if we're like helpless, or as if we don't know better, or as if, oh, it's too hard, right? I think, and it's not necessarily all of our fault. I think our brains are kind of wired that way, right? Our brains are very good at coping. They're very good at making us feel better, right? When we don't want to feel bad. And that goes hand in hand with the actions we commit and our values, right? So like most people who don't recycle, which again, it's not really a moral issue, it's an environmental one, but most people don't recycle, or most people who pay for animal products, or most people who do other bad things to other people, they are selfish or they are lazy, or they just don't want to do it, but they will rationalize their behavior, or they will cope by saying, oh, well, I can't focus on everything at once. oh, well, I can't deal with it. Oh, well, I can't be perfect. Or no, it's too hard. It's too expensive. When in reality, that's not true, right? Because people buy shit. I'll tell you one thing. The amount of money that people spend on meaningless shit and who say they can barely afford to live, people have a lot more money than they think they do. And I know that because I don't buy anything. I'm like a really minimal, like I don't buy shit. And on my salary, I can afford way more than I thought I could because I don't buy shit. All right.
Yeah, Brandon,
So,
but it's kind of a self-feeding problem because people who don't have money, they don't know how to spend money. That's the problem.
that's probably like the worst part is I agree with you. I think that the people who end up with lower amounts of money usually have been taught patterns of like really bad money managing habits, which is unfortunate. I just so happen to have like a low paying job, but I'm really good with money. So it ends up kind of working out. I don't know.
Same, I'm pretty strict.
Right. That's the key. Cause then you can, that's nice.
Yeah, I do make terrible decisions sometimes. Once in a while,
I mean, we all have to.
Holy shit, lose a lot of money.
Part of being human.
Yep. Right. We have not much left. Let's continue, I guess.
Manufacturing. They're also then marketed as premium or ethical and let you know exactly how well the chickens were treated, which allows companies to charge more.
That's not anything to do with fucking veganism. We do not want you to use any chickens, ethical or otherwise.
That's not vegan at all. Chicken. Yeah. If he's saying that, oh, well, the animals that are treated nicely or nicer, they're more expensive. Vegans aren't advocating you buy those.
Yeah. In fact, we keep talking about how it's absolute fucking bullshit. All of those marketing labels of ethical or whatever.
The moralization of poverty, because not only can you not afford these things, you're also a bad person because...
Can you afford beans and rice?
Also, I never said anyone... Who's saying that people in poverty, like actual poverty, people struggling to survive are bad people? Nobody said that. We recognize it's really rooted in society. But Harlan, maybe you are one of them, but considering you have a YouTube channel and you are filming yourself, I don't think if you can afford a camera or afford whatever equipment you have, you're not one of those. And the people that Earthling Ed was talking to aren't one of those. They're all on college campuses. He goes to Ivy League schools to do those talks. So what are we talking about?
Now you know where your eggs come from and still chose the cheaper factory farmed ones, you piece of...
Nobody in veganism advocates for like welfare eggs.
Yeah.
Fucking nobody. Even Ed doesn't, although he does have a few little cringe things about backyard chicken eggs. Whatever.
Depends. Yeah, I'd have to hear his full position. I understand where he's coming from, but yeah, obviously we're against enslavement of animals, even if it's in your backyard.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Shit. It's the same gimmick sales tactic.
So he's like putting all this stuff on veganism without addressing the actual fucking veganism. So this video is a huge straw man, and it's just gish galloping pile of stuff that has nothing to do with veganism.
It's like he's grouping in the bullshit of welfarism and the more expensive products and the humane washing as if it's underneath veganism, and it's not at all. That's a whole. That's part of the animal agriculture system, buddy. That's on you. I don't know.
Slapping an organic sticker on avocados and selling them for double the price of the non-organic ones.
Yeah, actually, like I think at this point most vegans don't give a shit about organic and say just buy the regular stuff because organic is a absolute marketing ploy.
Yeah, I haven't seen any evidence supporting like.
Yeah,
real
I'm not
benefits.
telling the single mother of 4 to buy organic avocados.
Yeah, again, he's just mixing in a bunch of other shit like. Okay, these are issues with food selling and food production. What does that have to do with veganism?
Yeah. I'm on the cusp of advocating against organic shit basically I don't give a shit about like I don't know if there is a moral difference between organic and non-organic. I don't know. I don't find Avi's claims too appealing because he also contradicts himself when it comes to medicine. Contradicting his position on organic when it comes to medicine, I think. But I'm advocating against organic, first of all, because there is no difference in health outcomes. And second of all, it's more expensive making the fucking, buy the cheapest shit. And then you can't complain that the vegan diet is more expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they use natural pesticides or whatever. Companies can squeeze every penny out of the consumer by greenwashing products to sell their perceived environmental or health benefits, even when those benefits may be minimal or misleading. Listen, maybe you don't care about the environment or give a shit about whether a tuna fish has hopes and dreams and you're vegan for health reasons. Red meat is, after all, a carcinogen, and we know how important it is to get all those vitamins and minerals from plants. Eating fruits and vegetables is known to reduce the risk of chronic diseases, improves digestion, and can help with weight management. The thing is, a 100% plant-based diet can also have its drawbacks because humans have evolved to be omnivores. We're literally built.
I can't anymore. Nobody gives.
I just want to know, like, he was very clearly able to say the benefits of eating plants. I want to know what the drawbacks are.
B12.
What are the drawbacks?
I don't think there, like, he's gonna mention any drawbacks. I don't remember if he will, and we're gonna give him to finish the sentence in a second. But saying, "Oh, we evolved to be omnivores," is the stupidest fucking claim to make against veganism.
If the only drawback you have of a fully plant-based diet, if the only drawback is, well, we evolved to eat meat, so therefore we should eat meat. If that's the only drawback, that doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make any sense.
So let's let him finish, actually.
To be walking garbage disposals, able to eat just all kinds of shit. Some vegans have to supplement their diet with B12 or consume fortified foods to avoid deficiencies, which can lead to things like anemia and neurological
Not some
issues.
vegans, almost all vegans should.
All the vegans should, I think. I don't think we can trust how much B12 they put in a carton of milk.
Dude, I've been getting so many comments from vegans who are anti-supplement, and I don't know what that is. It's been a lot of them, like more like to the point where I'm like, I got upset about it. I was like, because and not only that, but they're like telling me that I'm like doing something wrong by advocating for supplementation. Like crazy stuff, dude. I don't know.
Why the fuck? Supplementation is the best way to improve your vitamin status.
Yeah, it's the most reliable way. And here's the thing, like, if you eat enough fortified foods, you technically, like, potentially, you don't have to take a multivitamin. But why would you? It's just, for me, I want to be able to have flexibility without, like, I want to be able to eat what I want to eat and have flexibility without having to worry about my nutrients. I could eat every color of the rainbow and design my diet in a way that I get everything without a supplement. Or I could just take a supplement. So I'm just going to take a supplement.
Yeah. He said something about anemia. Are vegans more likely to be anemic?
No, I think he was saying that it's important that vegans supplement or eat fortified foods because a lack of those nutrients could lead. Again, he's kind of wording it in a
lack of
way.
one nutrient could lead to anemia.
Well,
iron.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly.
Foods to avoid deficiencies, which can lead to things like anemia and neurological issues. You may also need to supplement iron and zinc, as the forms found in plants are less.
A gibberish generator. He's like,
again, this guy has no. That's the problem. He is outside of his element. He has no clue as to what he's talking about. No clue.
Like, I guess I'm like too charitable and too careful, right? Because sometimes I really want to do like a video on a certain subject, but if it's a subject I'm not familiar with, like if it's like somebody's online presence or something like that, I'm clearly not gonna go watch like hundreds of thousands of hours of that content. That's why I'm not doing videos about those people, because I'm afraid to fucking strawman them, right? But this guy, he's not afraid of that. He's not afraid of.
No, well,
yeah.
Most people who go up against vegans, they have no problem with like inconsistency with their evidence. They have no problem with logical inconsistencies. They have no problem with straw manning. They have no issue. which is part of the problem, which is why they're not vegan in the first place.
Yeah.
But I don't want to just say this guy doesn't know what he's talking about and not explain. What he's saying is, right, number one, vegans should be consuming a multivitamin and or fortified foods to eliminate or to reduce the risk of deficiencies. Absolutely. I don't see anything wrong with that. That's great. They're very cheap, and in fact, I would argue most people should be taking some kind of multivitamin, but vegans, yeah, they're not excluded from that. Number two, he said iron and zinc are less bioavailable. He's about to say less bioavailable in plants. In theory, so yeah, I mean, the iron in plants isn't the same as isn't heme iron, so it's different. Same thing with vitamin A, how it's beta carotene instead of retinol. But in real world practice, right, in real world application, if you eat enough food and you get enough of that vitamin, you're gonna be fine. Your body will convert what it needs.
Yeah.
Right.
So there is like the iron is less bioavailable, but there is more of it in the vegan food, in the plant food. And if you take vitamin C with it, right.
Yeah, if you take a multivitamin that has those vitamins, you're good. Also,
and sorry, one last thing, just to be really, really clear, vitamin A, even for the lowest converters, all you have to do is eat this sized carrot every single day. That's it. Or take a fucking multivitamin. Or
like one sweet potato.
Yeah,
sweet potato. Or again, like even my vitamin water has 40% of vitamin A in it. Like 40%. Like, are you serious? And what's it called? What was I gonna say? The iron. I don't remember. But yeah, that's essentially it, right? So like, yes, essentially what he's saying is, if you are alive and you're eating food, you have to watch your nutrient intake. Duh. Shocker.
One last thing, why I called him a gibberish generator. He said, you have to eat fortified food or take supplements so that you don't fall into things like anemia or neurological problems, which I think he meant to be told. And then he says, and you also need iron. Well, anemia, and like you haven't switched the subject. That's why I think Harland, you don't really understand what you're talking about, because anemia is caused by low absorption of iron. So if iron is already a problem, you don't have to mention it again.
Yeah, he's not able to track very well.
Yeah.
So like that's a really useful skill, because if you get lost from point A to point B to point C to point D, you might hear point D and immediately jump to a conclusion or straw man, like he did in the other video, right?
Yeah.
He heard Earthling Ed say, oh, if you like torturing animals, you can do it. And he jumped to a totally different position that Earthling Ed was not even saying, totally different argument.
Yeah.
So he has trouble tracking for sure.
Yeah.
Readily absorbed by the body. Omega-3s that are typically found in meat and are crucial for heart and brain health are severe.
Omega-3s like EPA and DHA, those aren't even necessary. Like, what you need is ALA, and that comes from plants.
Yeah, and you can
Severely
convert
lacking
ALA.
in
Sorry? Yeah.
You can convert ALA.
Yeah. But I don't think even if that's necessary. But is there a lot of omega-3s in beef? In meat?
No, in fish.
Maybe he means
typically.
fish meat. I don't know.
are typically found in meat and are crucial for heart and brain health are severely lacking in
They're
vegan.
not crucial for heart health and brain. They might have some. Sorry about
Wow.
that. If you can hear that shit.
No, that was loud. Yeah, it was crazy.
Holy fuck! I apologize. There's
No.
nothing I can
It's
do.
cool. It wasn't like unnecessary. It was just kind of scary.
Yeah,
everything's
sorry
alright,
about that. I live in a very strange place. Anyways, what the fuck I was talking about? Oh, you don't. It's not necessary for for brain and heart health. It's beneficial. It's necessary in infants and can be supplemented vastly. And it's beneficial in adults, like older people, maybe.
Mhm.
Right now, there is some evidence that it might hinder absorption of the omega-3s that you actually need to get through your diet, which is ALA.
Well, I have heard, yeah, I have seen something on that. I don't have, so don't quote me on it.
Yeah.
But I did see where if you are if you aren't consuming DHA and EPA and you're consuming more ALA, then your conversion rate, because the idea is your body converts ALA into DHA and EPA as well. So when you only consume plant-based forms of omega-3s, your conversion rate is higher. So you convert more of it versus if you consume like omega-3s through fish, the ALAs that you convert or that you consume will be converted less.
But
now,
also,
again, I have to find the study.
We don't have
But-
the evidence that EPA and DHA do anything in like grown-ups, people like us.
Well, I think it's a fact that ALA does get converted. I could be wrong, but I thought that was true, but maybe I got to look into it again. But either way,
Yeah, sorry.
well, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, ALA is the essential nutrient. EPA and DHA is not.
Right. I was gonna say, I think in his case, he's just he's out of his element.
Yeah.
Beef is super low in omega-3s.
Yeah.
I don't know if he means because he said meat, but usually when people refer to fish, they don't say meat. So I don't know. But yeah, that's just wrong. And you can get omega-3s from plant-based sources really easily.
Yeah. So he's out of his element, definitely. Just regurgitating some talking points.
vegan diet because, again, plant-based sources of omega-3 are not as efficiently converted in the body. Individuals on a vegan diet can experience things like low bone density, leading to higher risk of fractures.
Oh my god. It's talking points. It's not even, I don't know, should we bother? Brandon,
Yeah, I
it's
mean,
been many hours. I don't know.
I mean, I was gonna say I would need to see evidence for that, but yeah, I mean, I just want to go to maybe like 2 minutes at the end. I just want to see what he says. If we can skip ahead. Obviously, if you're just gonna talk nutrition, then there's no point.
Yeah. Nutrition. You don't know about this, Harland. I'm sorry to say.
Exploitation through arbitrary distinctions the average person isn't versed in. People respond better to education and understanding than judgment and shame. If you want a more compassionate world
I would
for
need to see
animals-
evidence for that, actually. So when it comes to like moral issues, I don't know if that's true, right? People respond well to education. People
But do
also
they
respond well-
actually fucking change afterwards?
Yeah, I've seen people respond well to both. So I need to see like
Yeah.
you're making a big assumption based on your own preference, maybe like or your own like maybe preference of like, well, I don't like the shaming, I like the education. Okay, but you don't actually know what's going to convert people more.
Yeah.
Or make people go vegan. So
But also this video is kind of about Earthling Ad, and Earthling Ad is really good at not shaming people, but actually fucking educating them and asking the people to get to their own logical end of their own fucking logical stance. So,
dude, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Earthling is the softest guy. And also this video, it says disappointing vegan content creators. He only showed one person.
Yep.
Because he actually showed the softest person. He showed one person, didn't really talk that much about their content, and this is mostly just here's why you should be here's why you shouldn't be vegan, with a bunch of gibberish and poor citation and lack of debunking arguments. I don't know. This is like Harlan, man. Come on the channel. We'll talk.
I told you it was gonna be interesting.
Yeah, it is.
people alike, you gotta stop fighting over whether or not fish have feelings. I really can't wait for my
Fish are sentient. We are fighting about whether bivalves are sentient, and I think we should fight about whether insects are sentient. We just don't have enough information.
Well, and also, is he saying that fish don't have feelings? Like, is he trying to say that fish aren't sentient?
No, he just doesn't give a shit. That's what's happening.
Yeah, he just cares about his hair.
my
Punk
fucking
rock
hair to grow
lifestyle,
out,
bro.
man. I hate this so much.
So
Fuck it. That's the video. Thanks so much for sticking around.
yeah, I'm gonna go back just a little bit further. Maybe.
Will toward their passionate beliefs that are inarguably morally right. I just wanted to
If they're
Wait,
morally
wait,
right,
rewind
why are
that,
you not
rewind that.
vegan? Fuck.
Hold on, rewind that for a second. A few. Go back. I just want to hear the whole statement.
Okay.
right now about all the things I got wrong, or other ways not being vegan harms animals, or the environment, or society, or culture, or one's own self. This video wasn't even really meant to do that, and I mostly agree with vegans, and I have no ill will toward their passionate beliefs that are inarguably morally right. I just
Okay, hold on. So if he's saying, we don't need a lip service, but if he's saying that the vegan position is inarguably, he said inarguably, even though this whole video has been an argument, but he said inarguably the vegan position is morally right, then why aren't you vegan, Harlan?
But it's worse than that. Why didn't you address the actual fucking vegan position?
Right. And why did you spend 30 minutes essentially trying to tell people? I know he worded it like, oh, I'm just critiquing the minority, but you essentially have been shitting on vegan activists and giving people reasons to not go vegan. If being vegan is the morally right position, why aren't you vegan?
Yeah.
Are you being imperially colonized by the vegan activists? You're a white man. You have no excuse. Go vegan, dude.
Yeah. All right. Can we close the down? What do you
Yeah, I
think,
think we're
Brandon?
good.
I think I'm
Yeah,
done.
let me